Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Rocket Money. It's the start of a new year. It's the perfect time to get organized, set your goals, prioritize what matters most. And for me, top priority is getting myself together here. Financial wellness, doing that, which that feels important, just feels like adult stuff that you have to do. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable now. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, help me easily cancel ones I forgot that I've been paying for, which happened to me, absolutely happened to me. For years, I was paying for something. I was like, what is going on here? Rocket Money found it and saved me lots of money since then, because it's been a while. So they did a great job here. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder today. That's rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder. rocketmoney.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Welch's can't make everything make sense. Like why your mom still listens to the radio or what she meant when she sent that emoji. But a zero sugar drink that's still full of fruit flavor, we made that make sense. And strawberry, passion fruit, Concord grape, and more. You gotta sip it to get it. New Welch's Zero Sugar. Let's fruit stuff up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another crazy edition of Small Town Murder. I'm sure you're all still recovering from last week's regular episode.
Wow.
Because that was one of the...
How do you get through it without doing that, though?
We've done almost 500 stories, and that's top 3 wildest thing it's ever.
Absolutely awful.
It's Rouleau, it's Baraboo, it's up there. It's bad stuff. So check that out if you missed it, by the way. But this week, crazy story for you. But before we get to that, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for everything, first of all the live shows. Yeah. Durham, May 31st.
Oh, boy.
Get your tickets for that night. Durham, North Carolina. Nashville sold out the next night. Never mind getting tickets for that. Sorry. And you definitely want tickets to the virtual live show. Oh, boy. Whether you're listening to this early or later, it's still available.
It's still sitting there.
We did it. We did it or are going to do it, depending on when you're listening to it, on April 20th. But it's available for 2 weeks after that. You're in luck, just like a regular live show, but right in your living room. You can smoke all your own weed and drink all your own booze, and eat all your own food, and be in your pajamas or weirder or less or whatever you're into. So check all that out and do it. Shutupandgivememurder.com. And in addition to that, you certainly want Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of the bonus material Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get tons of stuff immediately. You can either have a cup of coffee for $5 that, might not even be that great.
Probably not.
Or hundreds of bonus episodes you've never heard immediately, and new ones every other week.
What's the better deal?
What's the better deal? Come on, people. So this week, what you're going to get for a bonus for crime and sports, which you'll have access to, we're going to talk about the whole Ohtani gambling scandal.
Scamble soup.
And a couple others from back in the day that aren't Pete Rose. Right. There's a bunch of them. Joe Namath, Len Dawson, Alex Karras. We'll get into a few. We'll touch on all of that stuff. A lot of fun stuff there. Then for Small Town Murder, really fun. We're going to dive down a conspiracy rabbit hole and talk about, was Charles Manson a CIA asset that was put in place to discredit the hippie movement?
I believe it.
Well, let's check it out.
I'm in already.
A guy ruined his career and spent 20 years writing a book about it. So let's figure it out. Maybe it's true. Patreon.com/crime in sports.
Right.
And you get a shout out at the end of the regular show as well. So you can't beat it. Best $5 in podcasting. That said, disclaimer time. This is a comedy show. Oh, by the way, first of all, listen to your stupid opinions in crime and sports.
Shot.
You don't have to like sports to listen to crime and sports. It's us being ridiculous and making fun of someone for 2 hours. You can't beat it. And then your stupid opinions. I think it's the funniest hour in podcasting. So
certainly challenges them.
Get in there. Now, disclaimer time. Yeah. This is a comedy show.
Sure is.
We're comedians. We're going to make jokes. People are going to die.
Oh, for sure.
They absolutely are. What we do, though, is we're tasteful about it. Is we don't make fun of the victims or the victim's family.
No, why is that, James?
Because we're assholes.
Yeah, but
we're not scumbags.
There you have it.
That's it. And there's plenty to make fun of in this. I mean, think about it. We got murderers. We have usually some small-town police force that doesn't realize someone's a murderer until they kill 4 more people.
A specific investigator.
A lot of people to make fun of in this show. So plenty of stuff to go on. We got plenty. That said, I think it's time.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this, everybody, to clear the lungs, arms to the sky. Let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. All right, let's do this, everybody. Let's go on a trip.
I'd love it.
Shall we? Yeah. Let's get into this, everybody. We are going to Maryland, to Cape St. Clair, Maryland.
Okay.
It sounds lovely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's a nice area. Yeah. It's outside of Annapolis.
Sure.
And it's kind
crabs
of
plenty.
Oh, the crabs here. Oh,
the
crabs.
Chips everywhere.
And they're delicious, too. Itchy and delicious in this area. It's in western Maryland, 15 minutes to Annapolis, about an hour to Baltimore.
Sure.
And an hour and 20 to our last Maryland episode 442, the social media loving cannibal.
Hey.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
I think we do. That guy was pretty nuts.
Yikes.
This is in Anne Arundel County, which is what we've talked about before.
Right.
Anne Arundel. Yeah. It's a lady named Anne Arundel, and they named a county. So I always thought it was Anne Arundel, like one word.
Yeah. It's 2 words?
It's Anne, A-N-N-E, Arundel.
Is that right?
Yeah, that lady Anne Arundel who owns the craft store.
I've always heard it Anne Arundel real fast together.
Yeah, everybody says it, Anne Arundel. So you think it's like, maybe it's a Native American word, Fucking Anne Arundel. No, it's not. Meaning the bay that takes the crabs or some shit. No, it's just a lady. Area codes here, 410 and 443. A little bit of history, just a minute here, because we got a deep story. Right. A little bit of history. In the early part of the 20th century, early 1900s, a doctor named Hugh H. Young, who was a doctor on the staff of Johns Hopkins University.
Oh, big deal.
He started buying up farmland.
Really?
He wanted to build a community around here, and his first community was called Permission Point. Persimmon Point. I thought it's a Permission Point, which sounds like where teenagers go to finger each other. Going to take her up to Permission Point tonight. I think it's the night. I don't know, man. It is Permission Point. They don't agree to go there unless they're...
How about Seeger's State? I'm taking her up to Permission Point.
We're putting on night moves. I'm getting out the Thunderbird, and we're going to get it on.
Hell yeah.
So this was... didn't really work very well. Only a few lots were sold. And then the Great Depression came.
Oh, no.
Put it all on hold.
Ruined Persimmon Point?
Ruined Permission Point, I'm calling it from now. Anybody there that lives there, even though it's not called Persimmon anymore, call it Permission Point, because that's hilarious.
And it broke the whole community, huh?
Broke it up. Well, it just never really took off. He only sold a few lots, and then the Depression came, so no one was buying.
Shit.
No one was like moving out to the burbs to spread out. They were, terrified and shitting their pants.
Sure.
They had no money.
Scrapping.
So eventually, though, after the Depression and the war came on, and then people started coming here.
Yeah.
And it's a suburb. So after a while, people started, moving to the suburbs. And reviews of this town, let's find out what other people think, because what do we know? Most of the reviews are very good here.
Really?
There's not a lot of bad reviews to find. Here is 5 stars. Cape St. Clair is actually a wonderful family 70s-like neighborhood. 70s-like? So it's like what, the Wonder Years, later seasons? Like, what are we talking about?
A bunch of houses that look like
a lot of Formica.
Detective Tench.
Tons of green refrigerators. What a 70s neighborhood.
River rock welded to the front of a home.
Not a lot of technology.
No.
And fireplaces, too. River rock everywhere. Sunken living rooms. What are we getting
conversation pits.
Yeah, how about it? This is a place where a neighbor looks out for another neighbor.
Okay.
I guess like kids riding bikes and shit, I guess, is like 70s. It coined the phrase, it takes a village.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
That's been around for thousands of years.
Before America.
Thousands of years, I think they came up with that. And it wasn't probably America that came up with it.
This town's stealing that? They're going to try to co-opt that?
It's probably like a Greek philosopher or something. Confucius said that, and now they're trying to take credit for it or something. You know what I'm saying?
It coined the term.
It coined the term.
Fucking jerks.
It could say it, epitomizes the term.
Yeah.
That would be a way to put it, or something of that nature, but not it coined it.
Wait till you hear about that stitch in time. They've coined that too.
Well, every idiom out there, they coined it here.
Fucking assholes.
Wow. I would never love anywhere else as much as here.
Okay, you can say that.
And I refuse to try. That's the other thing. I will not try. 5 stars. I've been blown away by this town.
Is that right?
Ever been blown away by a town?
No, I mean,
the people, the
never
school.
positive.
No, yeah, not good. The people, schools, beaches, and there's beaches though. That's a pretty good town.
That's helpful.
I never lived in a town with a beach. So
beach community sounds so great.
It sounds so great. Yeah,
until you get there, and then you're like, I don't like these people.
The people that live there. Yeah, but I don't like the people that live around me now.
I don't like the people that visit the beach community.
You like the people that live around you now?
No.
What's the difference then?
I got one guy that I like. Outside of that, everybody else, their houses could catch on fire. And I would not care.
Everybody else, you walk out and you're like, squinting, going, well, I don't know.
He is.
I hope this one's not outside now. I'm going to talk to him. I'm so glad my wife and I decided to raise our family here. 5 stars. Not bad.
Right.
4 stars. I'm not 21, so I'm not into the bar scene yet, but I see bars packed all the time.
Oh, they're not quite 21. Not yet.
They just drive by going, man, soon.
Yeah, looking at their watch.
This is just someone who's chomping at the bit to be an alcoholic. Like, I'm going to be so drunk soon. 3 stars. The community somewhat helps out, but it's not an amazing number of people. Well, if anyone helps out, that's pretty good.
That's an amazing number. One is amazing.
Yeah, wow. Some stranger helped me. 3 stars again. This is the last one. I like that the weather is seasonal and can be both hot and cold. Yeah, that's really insightful. Thanks for the
low bar.
Wow, thank you. Because if we didn't go there, we would have known that sometimes it's hot and sometimes it's cold.
No clue.
In Maryland in the winter, we've never seen The Wire.
Yeah,
Bodie wears a big parka. You know what I mean?
Always,
he's outside. He's cold.
Up.
So he's going blowing on his hands. It's cold out.
Yeah.
It's chilly. And then in the summer, everyone looks real hot.
They do. Yeah.
It's weird. So people of this town, population 8,762.
Tiny.
So not a huge town, not a tiny town.
Wow. For a beach community, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's a little pricey too, is the problem. That's why.
That's the riffraff.
And the lots are big, so it's one of those. A little more female than male. Everything's pretty average. Average age is a little bit older. Median age is 42 and a half. A lot of married people. 60% married here, which is well above the average. Race of this town, 89.6% white, 1.1% black, 2.3% Asian, 5% Hispanic here. Religion, about 39% of the people are religious, and most here are Catholics. It's going to be there because, as we know, Catholics are the Baptists of the Mid-Atlantic crab farming regions.
Yes, we know, obviously. Of the capital region.
Yeah, we know. We know of the Naval Academy region. That's Annapolis. Unemployment rate here is under 5%, and median household income here is $115,259. So pretty good. Pretty good. It's normal. 69,000 is the average in the country. So you're doing real well here. And the median home cost, you have to be doing well here. The cost of living actually isn't so far above the average. 100 is average here. It's 114. And the median home cost here, $445,600. So a little bit pricey. That's one thing. But there's beaches, and you know what I mean? You're not going to live anywhere decent by a beach and have it go, what a value.
Yeah. I got this at such a deal.
Yeah, people, why is it so expensive? Because the fucking ocean is here, and there's a limited amount of beach.
Right.
So that's going to go for a lot.
It's locked.
I can get a place in Kansas well, there's plenty of land there. It's not up for, that's why.
Only make so much that's shoreline.
That's all. So if we've convinced you, we have for you the Cape St. Clair, Maryland Real Estate Report. All right, your first house here, and this is the value, quote-unquote, home. 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,698 square feet. Yeah. It is coming soon, so...
It's not even on the market
Put your bids in, everybody. Yeah, you got to get ready. Call the real estate agent. It was built in the 70s and has the fireplace wall.
Does it?
Has that rock fire...
sharp...
the 70s rock fireplace wall. It has.
That's awesome.
It's been updated, but probably in 2006.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of not that. Nothing spectacular about it, but it's decent in a nice area. $489,000 for that.
For 1,600 square feet.
Yeah, for 1,700 square feet. Next up, 3-bedroom, 4-bath, T-bowl for each and every bee-hole, damn it. 3,009 square feet.
Oh, yeah.
It was built in 2020, so it's new.
Yeah.
Only 3 bedrooms, but it's right on the water.
Hell yeah.
There's your house, and your yard just goes around. And
3
it's just
bedrooms
a
and 3,000 square feet. That's a great room,
It's 3,900
Oh, my
square feet.
God.
It's big. It's fucking
Jesus.
big. So it's beautiful. It's very nice, but $4,795,000.
How do you do it?
That's what it costs to live on the beach.
Shit.
Right on the water, man. Your
My
whole
God.
property. It's not one little area.
Yeah.
Your whole property's on the water. Next up, that's
the middle house?
That's the middle house.
God, this is crazy.
Next up is it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
6 bedrooms, 11 baths. You can invite all the neighbors over to shit, and you got plenty of room
So
for
the
them.
biggest Super Bowl party you've ever seen, and you can still shit in your own toilet.
Shit everywhere. You can shit in multiple toilets, and they're all yours. 15,737 square feet.
Holy.
That's like fucking 5 houses.
That's disgusting.
5 big houses is what that is. That's a lot. That's on 20 acres, and it's ridiculous. It's really nice, right by the water.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's like one of these, like a fake chateau, basically. It is $14,995,000.
I'm going to be honest, that's cheaper than I thought it was going to be.
Honestly, yeah, but that's
obviously
who
the fuck can afford that?
That's somebody who plays for the Wizards.
Yeah,
that's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You got to, or like the Redskins or something.
The taxes alone would fucking destroy you.
Who's buying $15 million houses?
That's unbelievable.
Some hedge fund asshole or something, some lobbyist, maybe a DC lobbyist, lawyer, dickhead.
Yeah.
Things to do in this town.
All right.
Let's find it out. The Cape St. Clair Strawberry Festival.
Yeah. Another one of those.
Strawberries. I love the strawberries. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, there's a lot of festivals around them.
If you look up Strawberry Festival,
forget it.
Every county in the country has a Strawberry Festival. Let's find out what's different at this one
what
here.
is it?
They say it's an age-old event. Tell me how long it's been going on.
How many ages?
It's not age-old. There hasn't been this for...
We've done this for a number of years.
I'm going to say at the most 300. So somewhere between 0 and 300.
Yeah.
Age-old. They say seems to be more and more popular each year. And if you're a resident, you know that summertime begins with the Strawberry Festival.
Is that right?
And it's a day filled with a parade, music. There's 7 bands.
Oh,
and we have the names of
7.
them. We'll talk about that. Food, games, crafters, contests, a petting zoo, canine demos. So just making dogs do shit. I guess like sometimes they have them do the jumping things and like the...
Yeah,
I don't know. The
plant
obstacle
weed on you,
course.
make them sit near you.
Yeah. They go see if they can sniff it out. They bring up like an SUV and they say, "We've hidden weed in the passenger side door." See whose dog can fucking sniff it out. A silent auction. I don't know if there's auctioning strawberries or what. Strawberries in many forms.
Okay, custards, pies, cakes,
berries,
yeah,
parfaits,
shortcakes,
shortcakes,
yeah.
Cakes, I said.
Cakes too.
Long Strawberry cakes.
Long cakes and shortcakes.
You know those. Yeah, long cakes, shortcakes, cakes. Traditional moon bounces.
Okay.
An obstacle course, face painting, a coloring contest. Okay. Right. A dunk booth. A lot of ties for first in that one. I feel like in the lines you win, I guess, you know. Yeah. A Soca Scout, which sounds
that's not good.
In Utah, that's not you can't have that. If there's Mormons around, you're not allowed to have that contest.
Soca
that means you just put it in a Boy Scout and leave it there. That's not good.
Is this bad. A wet Boy Scout contest?
Yeah, I don't like that at all. A wet Boy Scout uniform contest. Oh God! They have pit beef. I don't know what that is.
Is it food?
I don't know if that's you fight in a pit.
Yeah.
I got pit beef with that motherfucker right there. Or
solve shit.
Yeah, or if they make beef in a pit. I don't understand.
I hope it's the former. I hope they're fighting. Like they save it up.
That'd be great.
Bob ain't been trimming his hedges. Wait till this year's strawberry festival.
I'm gonna get him in the pit. I'm gonna get Bob in the pit, and it's on, baby. Take out a whole year's worth of frustrations on him. Yeah. That's how it works. Hamburgers, hot dogs, snowballs. I guess ice cream, like not icy things. Yeah. Or the. A hostess
the
snowball.
squishy ones. Yeah, the coconut marshmallows. You hate them, but I love them.
I like any coconut.
Right.
Yeah. If I couldn't love them if I wanted to. Make my mouth swell up and I can't talk or swallow. So that's not good. Strawberry jam jelly contest. Okay. So I mean, you can.
That's a lot of ties for first too, I imagine.
You can bring jams and jellies.
Yeah, both.
Those are different things, man. They should be different categories.
Is there a preserve category too?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. No, it doesn't say jam jelly contest. Okay. Decorated bikes, whatever that is. Yeah. The berriest baby.
Oh boy!
And of course, we're going to see who will rule as the strawberry princess, obviously as well. Now the bands here.
Okay,
let's find out what these people have to offer us for bands.
Are they headlining somebody?
No, it doesn't say so anyway. Right. There's just a whole bunch of
a list of names,
and a lot of them are like just you'll see. They're just genres or like doesn't sound like a specific band name. This one does. First one is Cold Brew 42. Okay. Which sounds like a little coffee place somewhere.
Yeah, or
you been to Cold Brew 42?
Yeah, that does. Yeah, sounds like a little coffee shop. Or it's one of those microbrew shit bags. That
yeah.
Brings that hoppy shit.
Cold brew, like some IPA bullshit. The Cape Tree.
Okay. Yeah,
that's a band. The Cape Tree.
All right.
Then a band just called Easy Rock. Which is a genre of music. That's like a Sirius XM station. That's not a band. And it says they play 70s and 80s rock.
Yep.
Easy Rock, they're called.
Okay. So is it easy or like
no
spelled
easy
out
rock?
Like easy listening.
Just easy rock. Yeah, easy listening rock, light rock. A lot of like Foreigner and stuff, like late that. Foreigner, not early. A lot of like Air Supply in there once in a while, just like some light stuff. You know what I mean? If you leave me now, you take away just like Chicago, stuff like that. Real light, real easy 70s stuff.
Hilarious.
Jesus Christ. Dirk and the Truth will be there.
No,
I don't know if
they kicked out the liar.
The liar, yeah. He's like, I brought in the truth. Dirk is going to be there to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
24 Karat Rock.
I bet they play rock.
Will be there. It sounds like they play rock. Yeah. Then a band called Acoustic Cafe. Mm-hmm. Which sounds like the name of a business,
right?
Not a band. Acoustic Cafe.
I don't know. That's going to be very soft. They'll play a Bob Marley song, but they'll also play,
but it'll be a white lady singing it.
For sure,
it'll be a 47-year-old white woman singing it.
We be jamming.
Yeah. And she's got a flowy skirt on.
She's putting the G's in.
A lot of yoga. Yeah. That's the lady who's singing for 24 for Acoustic Cafe. Yeah. People showing up being like, where's the menus? What's going on? This isn't you said it was a cafe.
On bagels? What is it?
Shit, Jesus. Also, School of Rock, which is the name of a movie.
Right.
Not a fucking actual.
Can't do that.
No, that's dumb. That's your band.
If Jack Black is not here, I'm going to revolt.
If it's Jack Black and a bunch of children, great.
Fine, call it that.
Put it that. Yeah, this is not School of Rock. So there you go. And which is funny because maybe they were School of Rock first and are now angry. Like the person who's angry at Jelly Roll, which is fucking hilarious. There's a wedding band very angry at Jelly Roll for being Jelly Roll because they were a wedding band that no one's ever heard of first, and they said now they've lost all their presence on Google. It's like, well, yes.
And they're Jelly Roll, one word, and he is Jelly
space, capital R, roll.
But
also,
they're so insignificant, though, that the internet won't acknowledge the difference. It'll just go, you're looking for Jelly Roll. We know you're looking for.
I'll bet before he popped on the scene, if I typed Jelly Roll into Google, they'd send me to
a bakery
and a cafe to go find a
the acoustic cafe to get a Jelly Roll. That's where you'd be at.
Or a white lady tells me we'd be jamming.
Yeah. Here's a Jelly Roll for you. We're jamming. You know that's how it is. So those are the bands for that thing. And then, of course, you have to have the Maryland Crab and Oyster Trail, which I would go to that in a heartbeat.
For sure.
The aroma of Chesapeake spice permeates the mountains of Maryland, too.
Stop it.
If you're looking to combine a number of signature Maryland experiences together, head west to the mountains for a scenic drive or hike and end your day with a traditional Maryland crab feast.
Hell yeah.
Yes, and thank you. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Take me home.
Best.
Take me home,
and
Maryland Road.
Now that we've had it, I don't want to crack them ever again.
No.
I need somebody to do it.
Now that your friend did that for it. That was one. He was just handing us clumps of meat on a shell just there, and we were eating them.
Here,
like
try this.
Sultans.
Now try this. Now try this. Oh my God! This
it was like
is the best.
sultans. He was dipping it in butter and then putting it up on a shell for us. So it's like a little plate.
And then
Thank
whatever
you.
that is inside it, that's called the mustard. Try it with the mustard.
Oh yeah.
How's that mustard? Well, I don't care. It's delicious.
It's goopy innards,
That's amazing.
but you're gonna love it. And it was great.
How is that so
damn
good?
It was the best thing ever. Crime rate in this town. What we're interested in. The property crime. A little low, actually.
Yeah.
About 20%-ish, as I would imagine it would be. Because, like I said,
they've got money. They don't need to steal anything.
It's pretty leafy and, that kind of thing. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault. The Mount Rushmore of crime is about 1/4 below the national average as well. So, again, we have low. So, it's safe, it's leafy, it's nice. Let's talk about some terrible awful murder.
When wasn't it?
Brutal shit here. Let's talk first about a couple of people.
All right.
Let's talk about Robert Lee Swartz, first of all here.
Swartz?
Swartz.
That's interesting.
Swartz, yeah. It's kind of like the skater we did for Crime and Sports, Wolfgang.
He was Swartz too?
He was Swartz like that too.
So wild.
The rapist figure skating coach. Yeah. He was awful. And figure skater. Remember? He was diddling everybody, that guy. He was terrible. That was years ago. So check that out, years ago. So Robert Lee Swartz, Bob. Swartz, yeah.
That's going to
Bob,
get fucked up.
A lot, yeah. May the Swartz be with you. I can't
Sorry,
I can think. So he's born in 1931 here. He is the middle child of 3 sons. Okay. His father is a college dean.
Oh.
Mother a teacher, father a dean in McKeesport, Pennsylvania.
Very nice.
Yeah, so he comes from like a very academically rigorous family, and they expect that from him as well.
You're going to get your education too.
You're going to get your education for sure. He ended up traveling a lot with his dad, as you know, his dad had a bunch of jobs before settling in Pennsylvania and ending up in Maryland. And he also ends up doing a lot too, because he ends up in the Navy. Bob joins the Navy, so he sees the world a little bit then.
Sure.
It's right after World War II, I think between World War II and Korea. That little sweet spot of
nice time.
We don't have to fucking fight anybody right this minute.
We aren't
spot.
Stealing your kid to kill him.
That was better. Yeah. So he goes there. He's going to later end up in Maryland.
Okay.
He is a stocky. He's about 5'8", stocky, balding in his 20s.
All right.
And I'm talking Homer
Real
Simpson.
bald,
it's a little, not you like, I'll just shave it. It looks better. It's a little bit thin over here. I'm talking.
The stubble is kind of sexy. It looks like I could grow it.
This
I can't.
Nothing.
But he's got nothing.
He's got a ring around his head. Yeah. Absolutely.
The stubble shows age.
Oh, yeah. No. It doesn't matter. He looks like he's got a Homer Simpson hair.
That's no good.
From a young age.
20s.
In his 20s, it's going fast.
Shit.
So that's tough. He does 4 years in the Navy, and he worked for several years on the Distant Early Warning System in Canada and Alaska.
Oh.
So that's for like nuclear
missiles and shit.
Missiles and shit like that. Very smart guy, computer engineer.
Oh.
So that's what he ends up becoming.
Good Jim, Mr. Swartz.
Real smart guy, makes a good amount of money, does things like that. Let's talk about a young lady here.
Okay.
Catherine Ann Sullivan at the time here. She goes by, when she's younger, she goes by Kate, and then later on it's just Kay.
Okay.
She goes by Kay. She's about 9 years younger than him, ish, like that. She is known as tall. She's tall and intense. And she's like 5'11".
Oh.
Yeah. So she's tall and she's smart and she'll become a teacher.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. She'll tell you. She's the youngest of 4 children. Okay. She's from Iowa City, Iowa.
Yeah.
Whole lot of Iowa going on there.
Yeah.
She was the valedictorian of her Catholic high school.
How about that?
Yeah, so she's an achiever too.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be smart and it's one thing to be rigorous,
Right.
but certain people
Be the
are
best, smartest.
I have to be the valedictorian. That's a certain personality type of I'm going to be the achiever.
Right. And valedictorian isn't necessarily always the smartest. They're also the one that's
They're just the one with the best grades.
And
it's
super
the most
involved
studious.
in community and all that shit too, right?
I think it's grade point average.
Is that all it is?
I think that's all it is. Yeah.
Just the best one of that?
I think it's the best grade point average. I don't think it has to do with the rest of the shit. It's not like a voting thing. I think
not?
No.
Oh.
I think it's like, it's like it's a score.
Okay.
4.3, 4.2. You're the valedictorian.
There's a matrix.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I don't think because then you'd hear all the time that my kid should have been the valedictorian, but this kid did they judge their community service or it's just grades.
All right.
And,
I guess that
average.
makes more sense.
Yeah, otherwise parents would be killing each other for that.
Lobbying for
it. Yeah, that means something to these kids and their
Campaigning.
parents. Yeah, that's what they would do. They'd have campaigns and the yearbooks would have like an ad thing. It would be like Variety magazine and Oscar season. It'd be awful. Nobody wants that.
So they need more competition.
Yeah, people spending fucking hundreds of thousands of dollars on campaigns.
Another reason for kids to feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, oh man, now what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at like green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well.
Right.
And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
And then she ended up teaching English and Spanish after college, as we'll talk about. Her one friend said she's the type of person that you notice the moment she walks in the room.
Oh.
She had a flair about her. Some would say she came on strong, but, her friends liked her like that kind of a thing. It's like a strong coffee.
Yeah.
Yes, it's strong, but you know what? It's bracing and refreshing.
And you know it's there.
There, and she is honest. You always know how Kay feels about shit, too.
Oh, really?
Pulls no punches.
I like that.
She's like that. So she taught for a few years in Denver, and then she goes to get her master's degree at the University of Maryland.
Oh.
And that's when she meets Bob, who was an electronics technician, and he was taking college courses for one of his jobs. And he never got his degree, though. He was just taking these courses and never finished here. So they met in a University of Maryland parking lot.
Yeah.
Her brother said, this is Kay's brother, quote, she had this old Ford Falcon with rust spots on it. She was trying to cover up the spots with floral contact paper, and Bob walked by. She's putting like shit for like your shelves where you put like your glasses on and your shelves to keep the
non-slip or
the wood from getting warped.
She's just putting contact on the
floral contact paper.
Like the first wrap.
Yeah. He said Bob was going through these cars, and he was walking. He sees a tall woman leaning against a rusty Ford Falcon, and she's like, she was putting paper on the roof. She's like, he said, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, lady?
Can't wallpaper that."
And she looked up and smiled and said, quote, "I'm wallpapering my Ford." Which I think that was funny too if somebody said that. Like, obviously, I'm wallpapering a Ford. What do you think I'm doing? That's funny.
I love that she said my Ford and
my Ford.
Car,
wallpapering a Ford. Obviously, what do you do in the parking lot? Why would she do this in the parking lot, not at her house?
Maybe
you know
she had
it
in the back seat. She's like, "Now's a good time
right now
as ever."
in the parking lot.
It stopped raining,
and she said it was very quick and matter of fact, as he said. So he liked that. And she said she couldn't take the car's appearance anymore. It was all beat up and rusty, and she couldn't afford a body shop repairs. So what the hell? She'd do this. So she'd hide them up under these yellow and green floral contact paper. And it's like 1967, too, 68. So it's that
ugly print.
Psychedelic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The flowers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those psychedelic-y flowers. And Bob thought it was funny. He said to her, "Fantastic." He thought that was great. Thought it was awesome. Because there was like a white rusty car. Now she's got these spots of flower things. He's like, "This chick is crazy. I like her." So he found out that he liked her.
Yeah.
He said she was witty and original, different than other chicks, and friendly, and he just liked her. He was
got the idea to cover a rust with fucking cling paper.
She's a character.
She's fascinating.
That's kind of that's like a romantic comedy movie character. Like Sandra Bullock would have played her in a movie. What are you doing? "I'm wallpapering my Ford," and the guy'd be smitten forever after that.
That's how Jesse James met her.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Wallpaper in her Ford. So she decided to quit teaching school to earn her master's degree there. Yeah. And by the way, she's 5'11", Bob's 5'8". She's super thin, and he's not stocky and chunky a bit. And she's got short brown hair all the time. Everybody said she looked like she was like British, like a fashionable British lady. Everybody said she looked like back in the day. And she's nice looking though. You know what I mean? She had big glasses, of course, big 70s, big 70s glasses. Bob ended up going to class, but he said he liked her. He thought about her, and he never talked to her again after that for a while, until he saw her several months later in the cafeteria. And he walked over to her and sat and ate lunch with her, and they found out they had a bunch of shit in common. There you go. Both their parents are school teachers, both going for their master's degree in education.
And he's got a bunch of rust on his car and needs her to wrap.
Yeah, he'd like a nice, maybe you could help me out. They're both graduate students. They're both,
smart.
Yeah, they're both doing everything. They're earning room and board by living in the dorms and doing the RA shit, too. So they're getting that. Bob liked to talk a lot, but he said he liked listening to her. She's very fast talking, and she seemed real smart. They had both of them have like deep religious beliefs too, so they got into that and they agreed on that kind of stuff. She's really Catholic. He's not. He's Protestant. Okay. So back then that was called a mixed marriage. Literally, that was like, oh Jesus Christ, that was a big deal. Back
entirely
in the day.
Different buildings and different experiences on the day of whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So he liked that she was direct and shit like that. He wasn't a ladies' man, let's just say. Sure. He was he's aggressive in all of his other endeavors, but not necessarily with the ladies. He's a little more laid back.
It's tough, man.
It's tough. And again, too, he's not even 5'8". He's like 5'7". He's bald prematurely.
Bald as shit. Yeah.
So, he feels right away like everybody looks at him like he's too old when he's the same age as them or something.
And he doesn't have that physically fit, handsome physique that everyone's looking for. He's probably got some insecurities.
And if you're in college, you're walking around, you're probably seeing, a lot of dudes that you're like,
oh, God,
look at the pussy this guy gets.
Forget
fucking
it.
Dick. Yeah,
Walk on a college campus. You will feel bad about yourself.
He's 36 on a college campus, bald, looking like Homer Simpson. It's rough. He was in shape. He's not fat. He's just a stockier guy and doesn't, he doesn't look like a like a 21-year-old model or anything.
Yeah,
so
he's 36.
It's fine, yeah. So he also has on the left side of his face, looks like a birthmark or a scar, but starts on about his left temple and goes down below his cheekbone.
Golly, it's not getting better.
Dark mark here. Bob would tell people different stories about it all the time.
Oh?
The most common story was that it was a scar from a motorcycle accident, which sounds the coolest.
Cool, yeah.
That sounds the coolest, unless it was like I got in a fight in a bar and this guy cut me with a beer bottle. Like, you know what I mean? Like it sounds cool when actually when he was a baby, he fell and wedged himself between the crib and a steam radiator.
It's a
it's a radiator burn. It's a radiator burn. Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's really he couldn't even stay in a crib when he was a baby, and he was like, I was on a motorcycle.
Kinda.
So it severely burned burned his face and darkened the skin in that one spot. The scar lightened up a little bit, but they said you noticed
it's there
immediately because it's right on his face.
Yeah.
So it's hard to not notice. Katie said that she told her friend that she met this guy that kind of seemed like a know-it-all. She said, her friend said, she said what bothered her more was that he really did know it all. It was like he wasn't just coming across as a know-it-all; he actually knew shit.
Yeah,
which was like, you asshole.
Yeah.
Quote: she said, "You can't even go for a walk with this man, but what he doesn't have to name when he doesn't have to name every leaf on every tree and what's growing on the ground.
He knows all the plants."
He goes on to explain all that stuff, and she just wanted to enjoy it. Her friend said, "She just wanted to have a nice walk," and he's like, "That's blah 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 blah," and he would like tell you what every piece of ground cover is. Which for an education person, I don't know. But Katie was Katie at the time, was in the last year of her 2-year graduate program, and she told friends that she just wanted to get her degree. She would see Bob occasionally, but it was just casual. They'd hang out, have some coffee, go on a walk, and that was that.
Learn about some plants.
See him again a month later.
Okay.
Not a real, not a hot and heavy courtship
relationship.
So Bob would hang out with his friend, a younger dude with blonde hair who Kay called shallow and full of himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, maybe I'll get some runoff here. He found himself
hot friends.
Yeah. Bob found himself a handsome guy to be like, I'm hanging out with this guy. He's blonde and handsome. Perfect. In the summer of 1969, Kay got her master's degree in education. She's ready to go. She goes and moves into a tiny apartment outside Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And, she's looking for a job. Katie at the time, Kay and her friend, they go on a big hunt looking for jobs and everything else. They were applying for positions all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, they wanted to explore.
They'll relocate.
She's not tied to anything. They were looking for places, and even Samoa and the Philippines, they applied to jobs there. Yeah, far away.
Wow.
So Kay said that maybe she was thinking at this point, even though she went through all this school, going to get her master's degree, maybe she doesn't want to be a teacher after all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck, if you got ideas and plans, really, you're looking for jobs elsewhere. You don't want to go teach in the Philippines, do you?
She said, maybe I'll join the Air Force.
What?
In 1969.
That's a bad idea.
That's a interesting idea for an educated lady who can have a job and different stuff. It's not like they're drafting 27-year-old lady teachers in 1969.
It's an odd choice.
Yeah, she took the qualifying tests, but then decided not to enlist.
There you go.
She studied real estate, got a real estate license, but then said, I don't want to sell real estate. You got to really...
That's a lot of work, man.
You have to have a certain personality to do that, too. Like, you can't do that unless you're really that person who's like, I just want to show people houses. Look at that. Look at this.
Those like just high-end real estate people, I'm like, you lazy motherfucker.
You got to qualify before I'll show you a house. Fuck yourself.
And you're going to what? Guide me to a place to go sign paperwork and you're going to get 3% of this? Fuck you.
Can you imagine me or you being real estate agents?
No.
You'd show somebody 3 houses and go, I don't know what you want. I showed you
I gave you good, better, best. Pick one.
It's like the real estate report. I showed you some of this. There's one. That one's bigger. This one's less expensive. Have you ever seen fucking House Hunters? You get 3 options. That's it. Just pick one.
You want to see
asshole.
all of them, you fucking jerk?
Oh, my God. You know which house you want already, don't you? Just buy one and move in,
you don't
asshole.
like any of those, then go rent an apartment.
What? You're living here. Here's your paper. Sign it. I'm going to punch you in the throat.
Here's your keys, you fuck.
Oh, man. At one job interview that she had, with real estate. She stood up to leave and she thought a blast of cold air on her back.
Yeah.
And then she realized after she left, she forgot to zip up her dress.
Her ass was out?
So, from the top of her.
Oh, my God.
So she's like, didn't get that job. That was that one didn't work.
Hilarious.
So then by the end of the summer, neither she or her friend found work yet in all these permanent jobs they applied for. So they decided to just do sub-teaching in the school year when it started to pay the rent. They needed to pay the rent. So Kay didn't really see Bob much, but in the fall now when she starts subbing and stuff, they start dating a little bit.
Okay.
And he didn't get his graduate degree. He just stopped going to school. He was done with that because he had other degrees. He was fine. So he was living in Beltsville, which is northeast of Washington, and he was an electronics instructor for the Bendix Corporation.
They still exist, but that sounds bad.
Bendix sounds really bad. It sounds so bad.
Feels like a company that's
it's a
doing
medical
research
term.
to fix your bent dick.
To fix your, what's it called? The
That curve?
Peronis.
Yeah.
Fucking the Bendix Peronis Corporation.
And then the Italians named a beer after it.
Yeah, hey, drinking my bent dick. Having a sip of a bent dick. He had broken his leg in a motorcycle accident recently.
Oh, now he's got a real motorcycle
He probably fell out of bed.
Yeah, he probably felt it.
He tripped going to the bathroom at 3 a.m. He's like, fuck.
He kicked the radiator.
Yeah, God damn it. These radiators. I won't have them in my house.
Every time he just tells us the motorcycle.
Oh, God. So he would hop around on a cast, and I guess he stopped calling her Katie. He said it was, he said, you're 29 and you're like a sophisticated woman.
Name?
Katie's kind of a girlish name.
Yeah.
So he called her Kate. And then they got shortened to K, and that's what everybody ended up calling her after a while was K. So she was looking for a job, and she's looking everywhere. An employment agency found her a teaching job at Atlantic City High School in New Jersey.
Jesus.
She's like, I don't really want to teach the sweat hogs probably, but, maybe not. But she did. She went to work there after the holidays of that year. Sure. She's going. Bob keeps in touch with her by phone, sees her now and then. And he was telling his friends, I'm going to marry this chick.
Really?
But she was just very casually hanging out with him.
Sure.
Yeah. Just
but
chilling.
he's got a game plan.
He's going to marry her. At Christmas, Kay takes Bob home to meet her family in Illinois.
Oh.
Big deal for her.
Yeah.
So after that, I guess Kay had talked to her friend and said, you going to be around in June? Will you be my maid of honor?
Oh.
So she said, I'm marrying Bob.
She's going to do it.
It went from we're not even seeing each other to 2 months later, I'm marrying Bob.
Huh.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the going home with the family or whatever it was, but they decided to get married, and she's going to move with him to the Washington area in the spring, and that's that. So 1970, they get married. It's their first marriage for both of them. They're very excited, and then in 71, they buy a house in Cape St. Clair, which is this is on the Broadneck Peninsula, because there's Annapolis, and then there's this little peninsula. It looks like an island, but it's connected to land. It's a little peninsula that comes out, and that's what
Broadneck. That's probably named after like some fucking oysters out there.
I'm sure. Something like that. A broadneck oyster, a broadneck clam, or some shit.
It's awesome.
But that's what the high school's called too. She'll get a job teaching there. The house is at 1242 Mount Pleasant Drive. So the neighbor, H. James Ferguson.
Get the fuck out of here.
You know you're in a fancy neighborhood when people use their first name as an initial.
Yeah. I'm H. James.
H. James Ferguson.
Yeah.
He said the day we moved in next door to them, Kay came over and said, we know how hard it is moving. I'll fix you dinner tonight.
Wow.
Jeez, now I got to talk to you through dinner, though. I'm putting my shit away. Like, I'll meet you. I want to hang out. You're my neighbor. We'll get to know each other, but all my shit's in boxes.
Yeah. Like, I got a box here that says magazines, but it's all my sex toys. I need you to leave.
Please, I can't unpack this with you here. And if I go over there to eat at your house, all I'm going to think is my house is full of unpacked shit that I have to unpack.
Right.
No fun. So Bob converts to Catholicism when they get married as well. Yes. She's really, really Catholic. And he's like, whatever
you want.
I'll be Catholic then too. But he's into it. They join the St. Mary's Church in Annapolis and become very...
It's fascinating
active.
things you'll do for a hot chick, huh?
Oh, This is a chick you like. You'll do anything. Guys don't care about that.
No.
Religion? What
No.
the hell do we ever see on Seinfeld? George Costanza was like, whatever. I don't care. Latvian Orthodox? Whatever.
do it. Yeah.
Don't give a shit. Never even heard of it. Sounds good. Sign me up.
You're hot. I'll do what you want.
That's what it is. Guys don't care. And women, too. They don't care. They convert all the time for people.
That's true.
Love will
Yeah.
make you do shit. Whoever cares less about it is the one who converts, and that's how it works. So he switches. He ends up being, like, big in the parish, too.
Really?
Yeah. He also becomes a treasurer for a bunch of different groups here. Now, they find out they can't have children.
Oh, no.
Kay can't get pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
It's her thing, though.
It's her, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a barren womb on Kay here. So,
damn it.
yeah, no good. But they want kids.
Yeah.
They want kids, so they want to adopt kids.
Okay.
So at least they're putting their
That's great,
money
yeah.
where their mouth
Fuck
is.
yeah,
You
they
know what I
are.
mean?
Yeah.
And they were looking for, at first they wanted a ready-made family, like a group of brothers and sisters.
Really?
They got like a bunch of kids that like maybe their parents died in a house fire
Yeah,
and they're just
yeah.
still standing on the front lawn. We'll come pick them up in the station wagon and take them home with us. It's
Car
fine.
careened off the mountain on the way home from a ski trip.
That's
Some
it.
shit like that.
All the kids in the back survived. The parents went right through the windshield. Yeah, some shit like that.
Yeah.
So the Maryland's Children's Aid and Family Service Society, they had a family of 4 brothers
Stop it.
that was being offered up for adoption.
Auctioned off.
Yeah, like you know when they put puppies up. We have this puppy, 4 brothers.
This one comes with these 3. Yeah.
They said, "We'll take them.
Really?
We'll take all 4 of them," and they were even planning where they're going to sleep in the house. It's a 3-bedroom house, so they were like, "Okay, 2 boys in one, 2 boys in the other," and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. So they said, "Yeah, we could do that." You know what I mean?
Wow.
He's told his family. Bob said he's just making up for lost time. He's almost 40 already.
Great point.
I could have 4 kids anyway.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I'll have twice as many kids as my brother now, right away." I went from 2-0 to 4-2 like that.
Spent no time in the hospital.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's fucking great. No,
Yeah.
I'm not awake at 2 a.m.
No.
changing diapers. So then a social worker called and said, after talking it over, we've had second thoughts about the brothers. The
Really?
social worker said, "Yeah, we think 4 children might be too much for you."
You can't do this to children.
I don't know if the children knew about it yet.
Okay.
or
So they
that-
hadn't been moved in yet.
No, they weren't moved in. This is before they were supposed to hook
All
up with them there. And they said, quote, "Your marriage is only going on 3 years, when we're not sure you're ready to take so many kids at once. You have no kids. If you had 3 kids and you were fine with them, it'd be, but you have no kids. From none to 4 is a lot of
And
kids.
if you've got no kids and you've been married for 15 years, you
Yeah.
guys know what you want. And,
Yeah,
and
3
everything's fine.
They're worried about what if the pressure of 4 kids breaks
Right
them
out of
up
the
and now
gate?
there's
Yeah.
a 4,
Forget it.
And he said, Kate will be disappointed, but, I guess I understand. So they contacted several adoption agencies, but they learned that the waiting period for infants could be months or years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the months or years.
I get
so,
you got to make sure and vet, but that's
But infants go quick.
Yeah.
There's an infant up,
Yeah.
man. Someone will take that
Is
thing
that
in a fucking
right?
sec. Oh, infants are
right now.
immediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before it's like 6 months old, pre-6 months old, they will swoop them up because they can pretend that's their baby.
Yeah.
I don't mean, but
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can,
yeah.
they can, it can feel like not just like they've had somebody's kid dropped off.
Sure.
They can,
Yeah, because that's all the kid will ever know. So it's a whole thing. But
And it's
you
a
get a 13-year-old.
possessive thing
Yeah,
too.
there's
Probably
that
you want them
too.
to know who their parents are. That's me. And
Yeah, and then being called dad by I'm the only one that kid's ever called dad is a specific thing.
that helps. Yeah. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
So they said huge waiting list for newborns. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, because the ones that get pulled right out and handed off, those are like, you got to wait years for those.
Wow.
Tons of those. But, 6 months, that's still months and months.
Yeah.
So most parents didn't want children over the age of 2. That's the cutoff.
Really?
2. Yeah. They don't want them to like where they were talking already.
Wow.
They want like a baby.
Yeah.
And then have the baby develop in their image. It's a human thing, I think.
I could see that, but you are taking on the hardest fucking part of child raising.
And I think that's it too.
I'd take
like
a 6-year-old in a second.
Well, a 6-year-old though already has psychological imprints, for good or bad.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's the thing I think that people think is even 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
Some they could have a personality developed already that they whatever.
I'll take a 6-year-old non-bedwetting, non-fire starter.
Well,
How's
that's the problem. Yeah, those are the 6-year-olds
Yeah,
that are
that's what you're
available.
getting.
That's what
Yeah.
you get. So they said it was tough, and they said it was a lot to get people. They said nobody wanted kids that were older than 5.
That's too bad.
It's really hard to sell people on, which is tough. Takes a certain kind of person.
Yeah.
So they adopt a young boy here. Okay. They adopt him at the age of 6.
Okay.
So he's an easier one to get.
I'm right.
Yeah.
That's
6.
the one you
Well,
want. Yeah.
maybe not.
Okay.
This is Larry. They adopt Lawrence is his real name, Larry, and they give him the last name right away, Larry Swartz.
Yep.
And he had a tough time.
Really?
He had been in a bunch of foster homes. Kay is his 6th mother.
Oh, no.
6
a year?
That's what I mean. By the time a kid is 6 and they've been in this system their whole life, not even their whole life because he's only been in it since he was 3. We'll talk about it.
He's gotten 2 a year.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's not good. He's had a tough time. The worker told them, we do have a boy who really needs a home. His name is Larry, and I met him yesterday. I liked him a lot. He's small and dark-skinned and very good-looking. He'll be 7 in August. We've got to find him a new home as soon as we can. What does his looks have to do with it?
Yeah.
He's a handsome child. You'll really want to molest him.
Not ugly at all.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Very weird.
Odd as fuck.
Kay said, well, where is he now? And they said, with a family that was going to adopt him, but it just didn't work out. It wasn't his fault. They had their own biological children. I don't think they were able to accept an adopted child. And it's been hard on the boy. He knows he's not wanted, and he asked us to find new parents for him. And they said, is he in school? And he said, 1st grade, but he's being held back. He couldn't concentrate. His teacher said he comes to school upset a lot, which... Yeah.
He's furious.
Your home life is crazy.
The world hates him. That's how he feels.
He does things like eat other kids' lunches in the cafeteria. He'll just come and start swiping food.
Because he's fucking starving.
He's got a lot of weird food things of not eating and then overeating, and he's got a lot of weird food stuff, which is security. Food security is an issue.
He doesn't know where his next one's coming from.
So they said, we all think he needs a massive dose of love and attention, and if you guys want to do that, maybe that's what the solution is. Yeah. So they said, we'll take a look at him. Sure. Bring him by. We'll kick the tires, start the fires. We'll do it all, baby. Yeah. Kick the tires on him.
Run this motherfucker around the block, see how the
transmission
transmission warms up.
You know what I mean? Yeah. We'll, step on it real hard, get it up to 60. And
slam on the brakes.
0 to 60, see what the time is on that.
See how the nose dives in the brakes?
Let's see it, yeah.
See the body rolls in the turns.
It's gushy. Yeah. Could have fucked up shocks. Let's find out. So they said, why don't you and your husband come up to Baltimore?
Yeah.
And they said, They said, if it works out, you could take him home for good the next weekend. So
they want him.
He's going to be 7. Yeah. Like, they'll put him anywhere. Seriously.
Man, this kid's about to cry.
He's on the vine.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be picked immediately.
The milk is curdling.
Yeah. Now, the original story they hear is that Larry's parents are from India.
Okay.
Not true. Well, his dad is from India.
Yeah.
But his mom is not from India. And they said, it's just they're just from India. And they couldn't hack it in the country with the kid. Not true at all. Turns out his dad is a pimp from India, a New Orleans street pimp, and his mom is a chick that he picked up. Yeah. So it's rough.
Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, his real mother's name is Sheila, and she's a small bleach blonde lady with blue eyes. Sure. From California.
Yeah.
And she's in New Orleans, hanging out here. Yeah. She's 19 years old.
Oh my God.
And she gets pregnant, and her boyfriend, his name is Luther Singh. That's his real. That's Larry's real father. Mm-hmm. He's described as several years older and incredibly handsome.
50.
Not that old,
no?
But not 19.
Right.
I think 30, 27, something like that. And by the way, this is all from a book. I'll give you the title at the end here, but somebody wrote a book about this in 1989.
Wow.
So, they weren't going to get married or anything like that. He just knocked her up and that sort of thing. He was very handsome, she said. They met at Mardi Gras the previous year. And he went, with a set like that, you're mine. That's you can really kick the tires in Mardi Gras.
She got all his beads.
Yeah, all of them. She described him as a dark, flashy stranger whose family was from India, so he wasn't even Indian.
Pimp.
Dark, flashy stranger. He was exotic and exciting, like pimps are. That's how pimps are.
They make it mysterious.
Yeah, so they started living together by the end of Mardi Gras. Yeah. So 2 weeks of Mardi Gras brought them together here. She moved to New Orleans just out of nowhere. Just she felt like it. She left Chicago in 1965 and went to work as a waitress down there. And yeah, she was just turned 18.
Yeah.
She's like, I know how to wait tables. I can work anywhere. I'm going to New Orleans.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, just
in
going.
the 60s. Like,
go.
You just pick a spot in the map, and
Just
if
go.
you got money to get there, you'll start anew
You'll
when you
figure
get
it
there.
out.
It's fine.
You'll make cash by the end of the night.
Imagine doing that today.
If you could wait tables, you could go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, because today, good
Oh,
luck. Yeah,
God,
you got to
Jesus.
have first and last,
It's thousands
middle,
of dollars to get there.
just to get an apartment, you need first, last,
Yeah.
fucking security. You got to have that. You got to have the money
Oh,
to
my
get there.
God.
You got to. It's ridiculous. Storage unit now.
You leave the house, it's $100.
It's everything. So at 10 o'clock on August 24th, this is the day that he was born, that Larry was born. He's born a month early.
Yeah.
And he weighs 4 pounds.
Oh, my God.
He's very light.
What is she doing?
He's a month early.
Yeah.
So who knows what happened? Stress or whatever.
Stress, drugs, alcohol, something.
Something. Lawrence Joseph calls him Larry.
Okay.
And there's that. Yeah. But she doesn't really, she uses Luther's last name sometimes, but they're not really married. So we don't know exactly what they named him. Okay. That's a tough thing here. So Luther, the father, then moved up to Washington, D.C., and she and the baby moved with them. And a social worker later asked Sheila why she continued to live with Luther since he was viciously beating her. And she said, quote, he was so handsome. I guess it was the physical attraction.
He's just so cute.
He's just so handsome. He's beating the shit out of you. Who cares what he looks like?
You should see his eyes.
Yeah.
They sparkle.
Well, this is like, why would you put up with this? She's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you seen the tits on it?
It's true.
People, it's
yeah.
We're a horny people. That's what it is.
What I've put up with for tits.
Yeah. But after 3 years, she described him as just an awful person.
Yeah.
She packed up her shit one day and moved into an apartment with a couple of girlfriends in Silver Spring with the baby.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up there. But it doesn't really work out because in the end, she ends up having to turn him into social services.
Yeah.
And by the age of 3, he already had exhibited emotional problems, chronic bedwetting.
He's seen Dad beat the shit out of his mom.
He's had all sorts of issues.
Golly.
They find him eating food out of garbage cans.
Oh, no.
Getting up in the middle of the night to make sure his foster family was still. He'd wake them up and make sure they were there.
Oh,
Is that
God.
you? Okay, like that's when he to go to a foster place because he was so worried about who left and who's where, and he's jumpy. That's what I mean. By 6, kids have had a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So gets moved from foster home to foster home. Tons of shit, going on, and nothing's good. During his stay with his first foster home, he appeared to do well. No problems eating or sleeping, and that sort of thing. But the caseworker and foster parents decided that Larry should be moved to a home closer to his mother.
Oh.
So they took him out of a home that he was doing well in to move closer to his mother,
But
who's not doing well.
Who signed away parental rights of him? Like,
Yeah.
why move close to her?
It's fucking insanity.
Wow.
Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Sono Bello. The most known secret with celebrities and influencers and all these famous people is so many of them have had lipo. They've had lipo, whether it's a little touch up here or a total makeover.
Yeah.
Nobody has a perfect body. That's the thing.
No.
They may look like it on TV, but there's things that help that. Absolutely. Lipo now has changed, and Sono Bello's been at the forefront with using LAL technology and getting those beautiful and natural outcomes for each person. Looking real natural. Our friends at Sono Bello are offering their best deal. You're now included in their winter savings event, but appointments are limited, so please get on this. Sono Bello doctors are masters in micro laser fat removal, a brilliant technique that removes stubborn fat permanently wherever your problem areas are. Tummy, love handles, thighs, arms, it's gone in one comfortable visit. Eating healthy and workouts are great. Keep doing that, but if you want to lose that stubborn fat in one visit, check out Sono Bello. Save big during their winter savings event. Schedule your free consultation now at sonobello.com/smalltownmurder. That's sonobello.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about our stylish friends at Quince. That's right. Let's go elevate your styles, people. Get it going, look good out there, and you can do it now without breaking your wallet, without breaking the bank, because at Quince, you can get high-end, versatile pieces at prices we can all actually afford, which is very nice. You want to get good stuff that lasts and it's good, and they have quality stuff that's very affordable, and you can do like we did, upgrading our stuff here, while still being a very reasonable price. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's all quality stuff. You're going to love it. Trust us, it looks good. And I've got the leather jacket. It's a very high-quality item. Real nice, soft leather. Yeah. Jimmie's got his linen pants he's rocking.
Yeah, they're terrific.
Come on, be like us. Be fashionable. Get in there with Quince. Indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/smalltownmurder for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/smalltownmurder to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about a very cool place, Thrive Market. Yes, we are both looking to get into the healthy swing this year. The problem is I don't know what's in everything, and I don't know if even I'm qualified to even read the labels to know if that's good or that's bad. Right. There's chemicals and things, and there's things floating around. I don't know what I'm doing out there. One of my favorite features, and I know you were talking to me about this, is the Healthy Swap Scanner in the Thrive Market app. Yeah, it's simple. You scan any item, and it'll instantly suggest a cleaner, healthier grocery alternative, which is
it's great.
Amazing. Yeah. That's great. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding these safe, healthy foods. For example, like I'm trying to get my protein intake up for energy. I'm always moving around. I need stuff, and I love that you can filter their site by the high protein options.
Nice.
It's very cool, and you can personalize this portion, and you can put filters on it. And get ready. You should be ready for a junk-free start to 2025. Get ready for it and head to thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/smalltownmurder, thrivemarket.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
It's really crazy, man. So he ended up going to the home of Harold and Betty Heron, and he went in the house. He met his foster parents here. They seemed happy to have him, although their marriage was falling apart at the time.
Fantastic.
Yes. So they had other foster children there, too, which wasn't helping. Right. Sheila demanded to see him, and the supervisor then drove her to the Heron's house to see the boy.
She can't demand that.
Yeah, she wrote the supervisor wrote in her report. Larry seemed to recognize her a little, but paid not much attention to her.
Wow,
because he's been in different. He's 3. Your memory probably
refreshes
a lot. Yeah, your tape rewinds. Yeah. So on October 16th, Dr. Julius Lobel, who's a doctor, and he examined Larry, found him to be a normal child of small stature. He was barely 3 years old. He wasn't 3 feet tall yet. He only weighed 24 pounds.
Oh, he's very malnourished.
Very small kid. Only, they said, he had weighed 1 more pound than he'd weighed 15 months before.
He gained a pound in a year?
15 months. His foster mother told the doctor that he was a restless child with a short attention span, and he still had toilet accidents. He still would, have problems there. Then Larry went to see another doctor, a psychologist, who administered the intelligence scale test to him and said his social adjustment quotient on the scale suggested he was functioning at a level about 4/5 the average for 3-year-olds. And they said his IQ was about 85, placing him in the, quote, dull normal range.
He is
little
3,
dull.
You guys.
Yeah, just a little dull.
Jesus Christ. Give him some time.
Yeah, give him some time to bud here. He needs to bloom.
Love him. Water that plant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fuck?
He needs some fertilizer, something. They left him, he's growing in a sidewalk crack, and it hasn't rained in 3 months, and they're like, he's looking a little wilted. I don't know.
Give him some Oreos, for Christ's sake. Spoil him a little.
Yeah, the doctor said it's likely this child has had some tendency toward hyperactivity, and this needs to be further evaluated before a definite statement can be made about the possibility of some central nervous system dysfunction. It was of interest to note that the foster mother probably covertly rejecting the child and has difficulty accepting it.
She doesn't know she's rejecting him?
Yes, that the foster mother is probably, she's outwardly not, but inside she doesn't want this kid.
What?
She's sorry she got him. So another foster home he goes to.
Oh, my God.
They were very excited to have him there, but they were struggling with money. They were the Weaver family, and they said, quote, "It's still a day-to-day struggle with him. He wets the bed, and he hasn't let me through that barrier that he's got around him. He just hasn't become a part of the family like we expected him to." Well, you got to give him a minute.
Yeah, he's so little.
Yeah. After 2 years, they still hadn't signed the adoption decree. They were still like doing a test run on him here. So it's very weird. Either they or the agency could call off the adoption at any time before that.
Yeah.
So they asked them, "Do you think that you'll ever, not do this and call it quits with Larry?" And they said no. And the wife, that's what the man said. And then the wife said, "I don't see it now, but 2 years down the road, if everything's still the same, I don't know how I'll feel." You either have to, a kid can feel that.
Yeah.
So you either have to be in 100% or not, but you can't be like, I don't know, I'll hedge my bets, and if the kid's pretty cool, then I guess I'll be his mom.
Yeah. Kids are so good at picking out who likes them and who doesn't. They've got that gut feeling that we ignore.
Yeah, exactly. So at one point, the Weavers went to the doctor, took him to the doctor in March 72, and Larry had a broken arm.
Oh?
Yeah. This is some problems with the mom because he couldn't stop bedwetting and she was yelling at him so much. And then she wouldn't talk to him for long stretches of time. And she ended up breaking his arm during she was
yanking him around or something.
She got really mad one day, snatched his left arm and twisted it behind his back while she was screaming at him.
Oh, my God, and it broke.
And he tried to squirm and break free, and then his bone cracked, and he had a bone in his upper part of his left arm snapped.
Poor little guy.
Yeah, he was in a big cast for weeks, and at the hospital in the report it said twisted and injured left arm, and the x-ray revealed the fracture. That's fucking, and they said in the report because he couldn't stop bedwetting. That's fucking horrible. So that's who they get, Larry.
Wow.
That's who this family, the Swartzes, are going to bring in.
Bob and Kate are bringing in poor little Larry.
Bringing in poor little Larry. Larry's had it tough. And then
he needs love.
A few months later, they adopt another young man, too.
Really?
Yep, a little boy named Michael.
Okay.
And Michael, he's 6 months older than Larry.
Okay, so they're the same age?
They figure, same age. Maybe they'll get along, be brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but that's not even Irish twins. So even if they look close to alike, they're never going to feel like brothers.
No, but they could be, if they're close enough in age, they could be.
They could feel happy together and
that's what I mean.
Friendly, but they won't ever be brothers.
But I mean, even if they're best friends, great.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Great. And if they're this age, they grow up together, they'll feel like brothers
us
after
against
a while.
the world,
That's
man.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Especially if they're both from shit environments. Michael had been in 7 foster homes already.
Christ.
Yeah. He is of Native American descent.
Okay.
So they're just like, we just want anybody with any kind of Indian in them. We don't give a shit.
Couple of guys that Ben Franklin would confuse for each other.
Yeah,
that's what we
saying.
want.
That's what we want. People who would let's put them together and go, Chris Columbus, which is which? Let's find out.
To go, they're the same.
Yeah.
Same picture.
So Michael loved Indian arrowheads, and he kept them with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like his prized possessions. Yeah. He's very tall. Michael will be 6'6" when he grows up, by the way.
Boy.
Tall kid.
Shit.
So, they pick him up. And, Michael, I guess they said when they came to get him, he was they had to go into the office and do paperwork and shit, and he was like waiting outside for them.
Holding his bag.
Let's go. He's got an arrowhead in one hand in his bag.
Fuck the paperwork. Let's just go.
Yeah. I guess Michael was pissed off because he just wanted to leave. He goes, this guy just showed up and he wants to take me home. Let's go.
This place sucks. He seems better.
He said he hadn't lived with a father since he was 3 or 4 either, so it's been hard. He said he didn't like his father at the time. His father, when he was a small child, 3 years old, used to beat him with a wooden board. So he said he hardly remembered his mother because she just disappeared one day, abandoning him and his sister and his brothers to be with the, wood-beating father over here. So,
how do we know she abandoned them and Dad didn't just hacksaw Jim Duggan her in the fucking garage?
Yeah.
Jesus, if he's hitting the kids with the board.
But this is how Michael is.
Yeah.
When our guy here, Bob, came outside, he found Michael using his arrowhead to scratch the orange paint off the roof of a Datsun truck.
Somebody's car?
Yeah, he's just scraping the paint off of it.
Carving it?
So Bob came out and said, "What do you think? What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Holy shit, that's crazy.
That's
you can't
somebody's
just do
property,
that.
Man.
Yeah, he's had a hard time, Michael. I mean, he's stayed on the average less than 1 year in each foster home.
Yeah.
This is his 7th, like we said, not counting his natural family. That would make it 8. Everybody rejected him for one reason or another. Yeah. One of his parents is dead already, or one of the parents of the foster people. One died, so the other one gave him back. Yeah. Another couple said he was unmanageable. Another woman accused him of stealing money from the pocketbook of a visitor in the foster home.
Yikes.
He was 6.
Yeah, what's he going to go?
You should be able to manage that at 6.
Yeah.
You should be able to tell them why that is, and then with structure over time, help them understand that that's not right.
Yeah, you can't just steal.
Unless your kid is Ted Bundy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't know, he's carving his name on cars and
it's
shit.
just scraping paint. He was just absentmindedly scraping paint off
of it.
So the first weekend with the Schwartzes was billed as a visit, a weekend retreat kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he later said, "I was just there to check it out, and I met Larry," meaning the new kid. Yeah. He said, "It was fun. I had a good time." Larry said, "Hey, man, we're going to Disney World next week. If you live with us, you can go." So Michael said, "I went." I was like, fuck, yeah. I'm with a family that goes to fucking Disneyland? Hold on. I got a brother who's like my own age, and we're going to Disneyland.
And we're the same tint.
Holy
Let's
shit.
do it.
Yeah. This is fucking phenomenal.
Absolutely.
He was jacked for this shit. That's the thing. I've seen both. They look like brothers.
Do they?
Yeah. If you saw them and they went, "We're brothers," you'd go, okay, one's short and one's tall is the only thing.
You just assume the taller one's the older brother.
That's it. But I mean, and I know brothers who are, full grown. One is 6'6" and one's 5'9".
Yeah.
That's just the life. I mean, I don't know. So they were, I guess the mailman was tall.
Yeah.
So it was Carl Malone who came over. It was the actual mailman.
Yeah.
And the mother was 13, as Carl Malone likes them, as we know from the bonus Crime and Sports. The two boys were immediately tight, and they were well-liked in the neighborhood. Larry was a newspaper boy, delivered newspapers. Michael would rake leaves and, mow grass for money. They were industrious and nice and helpful to their parents. They were like, holy shit. And Larry told Michael, "Don't worry, it's not such a bad place once you get used to it. This is pretty sweet setup we got here." So that's also nice. He had like a guy, doing like some recon for him, Michael, when he came in.
This place is much chiller than everywhere else.
Look, we've both been in a lot of shit. This place is, all right, you're going to like it.
Food's on time.
Food's on point. No garbage cans. Yeah. Nobody's beating me with a board yet. So they shared a bedroom, the boys, and the third bedroom was free for guests. And they're going to have another kid later on we'll talk about.
Jesus.
Strict rules, though, also. And these, for the, age they are, makes sense. No leaving the neighborhood. Yeah. 1 block in all directions. That's fair. Yeah. Well, tons of mothers have been telling their kids that for 100 years, Stay in the neighborhood, stay within this street and that
Around
street.
the block is all you get, whichever direction
around
you
people
go.
we know.
Yeah.
So, less likely to be snagged and taken away. Well, then again, how funny would that be? How ironic would that be that this person that nobody wants and he can't get taken and they go outside and he's kidnapped. He's like, Jesus Christ, now there's a swell of rushing of emotions. People all want me now. What's going on? You'd be so confused.
Yeah, and even more confused if they sold you into like the sex trade.
Yeah,
now like all these people every day, somebody wants me.
What the fuck? Now I'm always wanted. Always in demand. That is gross. So 1 block, no television except on weekends. Which is rough for the late 70s.
Yeah, because kids in the morning is when the shit's on.
Yeah, no soda or candy. During the week, though, that's school time. Yeah. You concentrate on school and you do your homework. Well, when you're 8, there's not a lot of homework to do.
In the morning,
studying.
Before school, there's always kids programming on.
No. We're going to put like classical music on the radio. Jesus. Lights were out at 8 o'clock on school nights.
Okay.
8 o'clock bedtime, which that's just family to family. That varies. They had to help their mother with housework. Yeah. Michael had to mow the lawn and take out the garbage because that was his thing. They each got an allowance from doing their work, $1 a piece per week, and they could spend it as they wanted, except for candy and soda, obviously. And she would give them extra money for like raking the yard or doing everything. So they had like a responsibility thing. The relatives noticed the bond between Larry and his mother at family get-togethers. One relative said, Larry would hang around Kay and try to do things for her. I would see her for no reason at all go up and hug Larry and hold his hands. Like try to be nice to him. Kay's brother said he liked both boys, but he felt bad for Michael. He said you could tell Michael seemed very awkward and unsure of himself. And they said a lot of that is because he was very tall for his age, just tall and gangly and
doesn't feel like he fits into anything.
Let
alone this family.
Yeah, and he's like new and he feels like he's going to get cast aside also. So they said that this uncle said that he tried to single Michael out for give him special attention. Not in a perverted way, but special attention.
The uncle stuff.
And try to be extra nice to him. And, hey, let's take the kid fishing. You know what I mean? Let's take him out with us for the day.
Ice cream.
Yeah. So the boys started bickering, as kids the same age would do. Larry couldn't really physically contend with Michael because he was much smaller than him. One time, Kay was watching, and Larry and Michael were wrestling around in the yard and fell down to the ground. Larry broke away, got up and started running and ran right into a tree.
Oh, shit.
He turned around to look to see where Michael was and ran into a fucking tree.
Clark Griswold.
Fell down unconscious.
Yeah.
Like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like a Benny Hill movie. Like ridiculous.
Whack.
Pow. So I'm surprised he didn't step on a rake and have it come up and smack him in the face.
Yeah.
After he came to, they diagnosed him with a concussion.
Yeah.
So he's got that. Now, Kay blamed Michael and was pissed off at him.
Really?
Yes. So she yelled at him. He got mad and said, fucking no way.
Yeah.
And she slapped him. She slapped Michael. Michael's called her a bitch.
Attaboy.
And she told him to go to his room, and he did. Then Bob got home. And it was wait till your dad gets home because Bob heard that he called Kay a bitch. And he wasn't tolerating that. He yelled at him and basically, he hit him 4 or 5 times, punched the child.
Oh, my God.
Hard, like punching a
Blows.
10-year-old. Yeah. Really worked him over.
Oh, my God.
How dare you call my wife a bitch like he's at a biker bar or something.
You don't say that about my old lady.
You don't finger my wife's cutoffs. Like, it was weird.
Yeah.
So 1979, they adopt another kid.
Okay.
A 3-year-old, they figure, because they do a little Natalia Gracing with her.
Check some teeth.
Well, a 3-year-old orphaned Korean girl named Ann Lee, who they call Annie. She was 4, according to her adoption records, and they listed her birth as October 1973, but they said she seemed way too tiny to be 4. They suspected that her birth date was probably wrong, so they decided she was 3 and gave her a new birth date of October 1974 instead of 73.
All right.
So they figured the extra year would give her more time to break the language barrier before she started school. We'll just pretend she's younger.
We'll give her an extra year. We never get an extra year.
To learn English. So, I mean, and at 3, you pick that shit up quick, too. Yeah. She'll be speaking with a Valley Girl lilt in fucking 6 months.
And
are you kidding me?
Fry.
Yeah, and vocal fry. Like, oh, my God. Like, really? She did. Yeah. So the kid didn't know how old she was. So she always thought she was a year younger than she actually was. Wow. Because they told her that. On their car, they have a Chevy Chevette.
Yep.
We know that's hot shit with an "Everyone Deserves Adoption" bumper sticker.
Yep.
On there.
Bench seat in the back for all the adoptees.
All of them. Come on in, kids. Now the boys, education's a big deal for them.
Yeah.
With these boys,
They're very smart.
Bob and Kay, no, they're not. But the Bob and Kay are smart, and they want the kids to be smart. They think the boys are very smart. I'm like, unfortunately, they're not. Michael was a smart one, actually.
Yeah.
Michael was smart, quick learner, did well in school. Larry, not so good in school.
Yeah.
Larry's a little stunad, we'll say here.
He's seen his mom get the shit punched out of her.
Yeah, that doesn't make you dumber, though.
No, but it'll
give you emotional problems. Doesn't make your IQ drop.
Certainly give you less drive than had you not seen it.
Drive, yeah. But the teachers think he's dumb.
Really? Like he doesn't have it.
Even the parents, he's just dull. Dull, normal, dull. Yeah. He's just always a little dull.
Even if mom hadn't gotten decked, the ability is not there.
It's just, he's not terrific. So Michael, though, excelled in school, and they thought that he was under-challenged. So they had him jump from the 2nd to the 4th grade.
A 2-year jump?
Well, they skipped the third grade. They had him skip the third grade.
Okay,
So,
but not like at the beginning of
no,
second.
no.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he goes from second, and instead of going to third, he goes to fourth.
Got it.
So they said usually kids don't skip those grades.
Yeah, it's rare.
So that's a different one. So they said, one social worker said, frankly, I'm surprised the school allowed, I guess, no, it was in the middle of the school year, the social worker said. I don't know why I didn't know that from my notes.
From the middle of second to the middle of fourth, then?
The middle, yeah. And they said that was highly unusual.
Incredibly.
To go to third would have been one thing, but not.
Skip all that too?
To go to fourth, they said that was real weird. I guess they just said those kids are about his height.
Yeah.
Literally, he looks like those kids.
Andy said the word decimal.
Yeah, so we were like, he might be the one. So it doesn't work out. He's smart, but he's emotionally in second grade.
Right.
Fourth grade is a different emotional wavelength by everybody here. He's immature. His grades drop. Disciplinary problems increase because he's frustrated because he can't do anything.
Clue what's happening.
He would have impulsive fits of anger. He'd be disobedient, and they said at that point he didn't understand right from wrong. He seemed like because he was just out of his element again. So Larry's different. Michael's smart, but he has these emotional fits. Larry, everything's under the surface. Calm. Mild-mannered, follows the rules at school, follows at home, no disciplinary problems, kisses Kay's ass. Yeah. Clearly the favorite son. Okay. But he's a shit student is the only thing. No matter what he does, he can't do it. He's just not good at it. He's like, I'll kiss ass instead. Yeah. Where
they had to get 2 kids with the qualities that they want one kid to have.
Yeah. They found out he has some learning disabilities, and he was placed in special education classes, which made him do better. They knew how to teach him a little bit better. 1980 problems with Michael get real bad here. And Larry will confirm this, that Michael gets all of the brunt of all of Dad's anger. In 1978 and 1979, Bob beat Michael, according to Larry, 20 or 30 times. Wow. That's a lot of ass kickings. That's more than a boxer takes. Yeah. That's too much.
But when you open the door to punching,
that's crazy.
Man, that's nuts.
Close fisting children yep, I said it.
Damn it.
Close fisting. It's much more cruel. I've said it before. Fuck my stupid tongue.
Close fisting children certainly teaches them a lesson, James.
They know to study harder at that point.
We better stop whatever earns that.
Horrifying. Yeah, don't do that to kids, please. Don't close fist them. They said
but get punched, it certainly it opens a door and a barrier. It breaks down a wall of no matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to get punched for it. So whatever.
And Michael ended up having a room downstairs in the basement, and that's where these beatings would take place. They said they would take Annie over to a neighbor's house before he'd beat him up, like it was a scheduled thing. So it wasn't like I lost and I hit the kid. Oh God, what happened? This is like I'm kicking his ass. Take the girl.
It's Annie vacation time. We got to go.
Larry could hear Michael screaming. He said from these beatings. At first, Larry ran to his mother and said, "Isn't that Christ? He's killing him down there." And she said, "Stay out of it and go to your room." So Larry, after a while, during these beatings, he couldn't take it anymore. He said the stress of scaring his brother screaming, he would run out of the house and go hide in the swamp in the woods behind until he thought it might have been over, until it was enough time. He said he couldn't watch. One time, though, his father threw his mandolin at Michael in the backyard.
He plays the mandolin?
Yeah, I don't know if it's that or he was slicing potatoes. I'm not sure. And just missed him. And another time he lost his temper and knocked Michael to the ground on the walkway beside the house outside. So Larry was saying sometimes I couldn't avoid seeing it. It was just
Michael's
happened.
Just the target of all his rage.
When he knocked him down, Bob kicked him over and over again.
Oh, come on.
Like he owed a gangster money.
Right.
So he said he kept kicking, and Michael would roll from one railroad tie for the next, crashing down the steps, because that's how they're set up, these steps. Shit. And, he said that for weeks Michael complained his ribs hurt. He was probably broken.
Right.
He was being kicked and pushed downstairs.
Right.
He said Michael started hating his father, and he wasn't shy about expressing it. One day he told his mother after one of the beatings, quote, I could kill Dad. I'll kill him in his sleep.
He's 5'7" at best.
I'll fucking kill this guy. She said, what? And he said, I could kill him if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Dad would come home one day and I would be standing behind the door with a knife. He'd open the door and I could kill him because he wouldn't know I was behind the door.
He has thought about this a lot.
This is what happens when you beat people.
Oh, my God.
When you beat people intensely over a long period of time, they start fantasizing about how to fucking
thinking ways to stop this.
Stop that.
Yeah.
So Kay was like, what the fuck? She didn't think he was serious at all, but she was upset and told Bob about it, which I'm sure earned him a beating.
Likely, yeah.
So that's very tough. Now, Michael keeps getting in trouble. He wouldn't follow the rules. One night he asked them if he could go out and see a few of his friends. They said no, so he snuck out of the house. He got home around 10 o'clock, and he was locked out of the house.
Yeah.
He knocked. They wouldn't let him in.
Yeah, I beat you. Open the door.
So he was knocking, and so he started yelling, let me in. Kay opened up the window and said, he can't come home anymore. You're not allowed to come home anymore. And then the next day, she reported him as a runaway to a social worker.
No.
Yeah, because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was like, well, yeah. He was given a choice by the social worker to move into a foster home or to go to juvenile court, which would likely mean he'd be going to a juvenile detention home. Right. He said he'd rather move into a foster home. And the Swartzes were like, well, he's no longer our fucking kid. We don't want him anymore. So Michael's had it tough. So he moves in with another foster family about 15 years away, his ninth.
15 years away?
Or 15 miles away.
Right.
Yeah, it was his ninth home in 13 years. That's what I was trying
years.
to. Yeah.
It's a long ride.
It's a long time. Then a month later, after he's in this home, he and his friends break into a house.
Michael.
He's like 15.
Yeah.
And stole a radio and 2 log splitters. Then went into another house and did $2,000 worth of property damage in an unoccupied house. They broke windows, ripped out wiring, and bashed the plumbing in.
Split a bunch
they
of
just
logs.
fucked a vacant house up.
Yeah.
They broke into another house the next morning and tried to steal a bunch of shit. And the owner's grandson drove by and noticed a front window pane was broken. So he went inside and caught Michael in the act of putting a camera in his pocket.
Uh-oh.
Cops came, arrested him, obviously arrested all of them. They were felony breaking and entering, theft, malicious destruction of property, all this type of shit. He's moved into the Palmer family boys home, which is a state licensed emergency shelter. Yeah. It's rough, man. There's nothing going right for him at all. Nothing going right for him at all. Later on, the Swartzes are described as a well-meaning but peculiarly ill-equipped family to deal with these boys' problems. Yeah. Now, they talk about also that people find out that he's been beaten repeatedly, and he said that one of the social workers said, Michael told me he was abused physically, and Larry would be there hovering in the corner, like trying, oh, God, Jesus, like all freaked out. That's wild. And Michael used to run away after the beatings and that kind of thing, too. So it's really hard for him. Now, the courts say that delinquency was one of the only 3 charges minors could face in the Maryland juvenile court, and the other ones were being a child in need of supervision and assistance. So you can't really charge that was at the time how it worked. So after he left the Swartz home, obviously, they declared him a child in need of assistance because Michael's parents are unwilling or unable to give him proper care and attention. To wit, Michael's behavioral problems in school and at home have made it impossible for his parents to deal with his problems. So, yeah, a few weeks after his 14th birthday, that's when they declared him a child in need of assistance. Yeah. And he was, he's placed in a state-licensed juvenile center. So over there. So that's not great.
No.
In May of 1980, a few months after he moved into the youth center, he wrote a letter to the Swartzes.
What'd he say?
This is fucking sad. Dear Ann, Larry, Kay, Bob, hello. I imagine you are all mad at me, but I would still like to keep in touch. I've graduated from high school, and I'm going to Frostburg College because he went and took something. Yeah. I'm going to have a lot of fun there. How is Ann and you all? How is Ann? He says it twice. How is Ann and you all? How is Ann? I have a broken arm and wrist. I hope you all are having a good time. I am. I am independent living where we live with no supervision. Michael Swartz. He's still using their name because that's his legal name.
Yeah. He's got a broken arm and hand?
Yeah, he did. Who knows what he did? Yeah. He said, P.S. Write back and send a picture of the family and one of Ann. Okay. Both the boys love Ann, by the way. They're both real protective over her and they've been her, I think, is the thing.
Yeah,
so
and she's got it much easier than they did, and they want to make sure that it stays that way.
Yeah. Larry is horrified that his parents did this.
Really?
He's like, I thought we had a family going on.
Yeah, I didn't know we could just
I just decide we don't like someone anymore and
punch
kick 'em.
people and throw them out.
This freaks him out because he's like, oh, fuck.
What about me?
Exactly. He said it made him feel very insecure.
Yeah,
He
vulnerable.
was scared that one day they just throw him out if he did something wrong the same way they did with Michael.
And Dad doesn't have Michael to punch anymore.
No.
What if it's me now?
He never beats Larry either.
Really?
That's the other thing. Larry said never beats him. I don't know if it's because he's small or because he doesn't fight back.
I think there's some psychological inferiority feeling of Bob beneath a taller, bigger kid. It's got to make him feel like he's in charge.
Possible, or that's a possibility. Or I think Larry is just so if you yell at Larry, he'll go, okay. He won't say, you bitch.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael will be like, fuck you. That's
Yeah.
not right. And then he'll get beat up. Whereas Larry will go, okay, that's fine. I'll just go to my room now. That's the way he does it. So he's not really, it's hard to get that angry at Larry to beat him because he won't escalate it with you. So at this point, Larry's relationship with his mother starts deteriorating.
Okay.
She would scream at him twice as much now.
What?
And he would try to figure out a way to get back into her good graces, but he couldn't figure it out. So Larry said at the time he thought the only people in the world who don't like him are his parents. In school, he's very popular.
Really?
That's the thing. Yeah, in school, he's popular. He's known to his teachers, and he's not smart, but he's known as polite, good-looking, easygoing,
It's good looking. Keeps
funny.
coming up.
Yeah. Well, he's also a two-sport athlete. He's co-captain of the soccer team.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what I mean? He's doing okay in that regard, but he goes home and they hate him.
What the fuck?
So they said his friendly nature made it, I guess that's the only way he survived here. Yeah. So they would talk. He would still talk to Michael on the phone all the time. Sure. They stayed in touch like they were brothers all the time, which is very interesting. Tensions start to increase, though. Larry has more arguments with his parents, become a very regular occurrence. They fought over his sports because they thought that being co-captain of the junior varsity soccer team took away from his studies.
Student athlete.
Yeah.
Student is the first word.
So you shouldn't play sports, but also it's also good for you to
It's
do
also
that.
his identity, and it's what's keeping him afloat because
Not
he's
only
not
that-
good at school, and this is where he's accepted.
Well, if he's decent at soccer too, maybe that and a C average will get him into a half-assed junior college or something rather than just nothing.
But in academics, C average, he's middle of the road. He's co-captain,
Yeah.
meaning he's one of the
They
two
like him at least.
favorites on the team.
Yeah, they at least like him. So
and
this-
respect him.
I think it's good for a kid's
great.
confidence to be good at something like that.
Absolutely.
So he often would get grounded to where he was only permitted to go to school, church, and attend his wrestling matches and soccer events.
Jesus.
Socializing with his friends was kind of out.
No.
When he managed to be able to go on a date, they always hated the girls that he asked out.
Of course
they
they
wouldn't
did,
like him. So his schoolwork got worse and worse. They said he wanted to be his parents' favorite, but it didn't quite work. At one point, he told them he wanted to be a priest. I'll be a priest.
Yeah.
Because he thought that's what they wanted.
Right.
So they were thrilled, and they sent him to a seminary to begin his first year of high school.
Oh, Jesus.
And that didn't work because his grades sucked, and they recommended that he not return after failing to maintain a necessary grade point average. And they were very upset with him. So he went from having 5 Ds and a couple of Cs, and then, it gets worse and worse. Just Ds, basically. My parents would have been like, you passed. Good job. Thank you.
That report card right there is a Whisman report card.
Yeah, mine too. Just enough to get by.
Yeah.
That's it. And he said once Michael left, he said this was like Michael's like a sponge for their lightning rod.
Yeah.
And now that he's gone, now they're concentrating on Larry. And he's like, fuck, Ann's too young. She can't do anything. So they said when they left, when he left, Michael, they started yelling at me for low grades. I never understood why there was such a change. It was the same grades I was getting.
Lightning rod for criticism now.
Yeah, but going into high school, they get lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
His father wanted him to go to the Naval Academy. Bob wanted him to go there, but his grades, you have to have good grades to get in there.
Sure.
Bob said, don't you understand how important this is? You'll never get anywhere if you don't do better. We know you can do better. If you don't pull yourself together, you're going to turn out just like your brother, they tell him.
Oh, no.
Kicked out of the house is what he thought of when he got that.
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else. Now, later on, too, they'll retest him. His IQ is 87, so
it is low.
He's just not that smart of a guy. That's it. He's just not that bright. That's fine, but, he's not going to go to the Naval Academy. No matter how hard he tries, he's not going to learn trigonometry. This is not going to happen. No, this is not. Not well, anyway. So by 1983, Kay is teaching English at Broadneck High School, while he is an engineer for General Electric Company in Landover.
Wow.
Doing very well for themselves. She had taught a semester somewhere else and then at 2 different schools, and now she's at Broadneck. Okay. So is Larry. He goes to Broadneck High. Yeah. So they changed their will at this point, and in the wills, they leave their worldly belongings to the other spouse if one died. In the event that the other spouse also dies, the will names Larry and Annie as the co-heirs. Okay. This is a key change because they took out Michael. Oh. They even put in a clause, I direct that no portion of my estate should go to Michael Swartz, a child whom I adopted but who has since returned to foster care, and the guardians named below for Lawrence and Ann are not responsible for Michael's care or support.
They don't want anything to do with him.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. November 1983, Michael's having a tough time doing his thing, but Larry's trying to get his footing under him.
Sure.
Ann comes up to Annie, little Annie, up to her mom with pink pills and said, I found these in Larry's jacket.
What?
Kay said, well, I knew it wasn't,
It's not
Advil.
Yeah.
So,
Benadryl?
No, it's an oblong tablet covered with brown and red spots.
What is that?
On one side, it was stamped PKS, and on the other side was 20/20.
Okay.
So Larry came home. She said, what are these? And he said, they're not mine. They're a friend of mine's.
Uh-oh.
She said, well, why are they in your coat? Why are they in your coat? He said, I was carrying them for my friend. He asked me to give them to someone at school. So she said, you're not that stupid, Larry. Yeah. Well, turns out he is, but you're not that stupid. What are they? And finally he said, okay, fine. They're speed. Uh-huh. I don't use speed, but he said my friend was giving them to another guy and I was going to be in his class. So he said, will you give these to them? And turns out he actually did take some speed, but he didn't feel anything from it because he's hyperactive. So it actually calmed him down. It
works the opposite.
It chilled him out. Yeah, it was like Ritalin. So he was like, he couldn't figure out why he wasn't like buzzing like everybody else.
It didn't do anything for me. Well, there's an explanation.
So they yelled at him, told him never to bring drugs home again and all that kind of thing. They ended up taking it in and asking a pharmacist, can you tell him what it is? So they tested it. And turns out that it was nothing. It was some shit that somebody made to look like something to sell the kids. Yeah, to steal their moning.
Bastards.
Burn bags, basically. Yeah. So that's pretty fucking funny. There's another time when he's hanging out with his friends and they go to Denny's. Yeah. And Kay is convinced they were drinking.
At Denny's?
They went out and they weren't just at Denny's. Okay. They went out drinking and they use that as an excuse. Got it. So the one kid, the friend, told his mother, we weren't drinking, Mom. Neither of us were. She believed her son, but Kay said, no, they were drinking. Larry's lying. Okay. And she yelled, this is in front of the 2 moms and the 2 boys are there.
Oh, boy.
And this is happening. And she's telling Larry in front of these people that he's ruined her life.
What?
She said, you're never going to amount to anything. You won't be able to go to college because no college will ever accept you. You just wait and see. John, his friend who she was hanging out with, he'll go off to college and leave you in his dust. You finally pulled John down to your level.
Okay.
And the other mother was like, dude.
Don't you remember college? There are plenty of drinking going on.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy. So then she brought him home and Bob freaked out.
Yeah.
Bob said, you should have been thrown in jail and vomited on and urinated on and given hard labor. Then you would learn what life's about like I did. What you need is labor, physical labor, back-breaking labor. Then you wouldn't be going out at night like this because you wouldn't have the energy.
Right.
You'd be tired.
You'd vomit on your face and piss on your chest.
Oh, my God. So the mother's still standing there through all the other kid's mother and the kid, and she's like, what the fuck?
They just wished vomit and piss on him.
The mother went down to talk to Kay and said, I'd be glad to help you take care of Larry. I'll do anything you need to help. And Kay said, I just don't know what we can do about him. He's beyond help. He went to Denny's. The kid went to Denny's and he gets C's. Beyond help. Urinate on him.
The poor kid had bad curly fries. And
hard labor.
You want him pissed on.
Holy shit. They said, Kay, if things are that bad, why don't you have him do his next semester over on the Eastern Shore and he can live with us. Yeah. He'll take off some of the pressure.
Very nice.
And she said, no.
No, we'll piss on him.
No, we'll keep him here. So shortly before Christmas, Michael is confined at the Crownsville. It's a mental, like a criminal mental place, for evaluation after he drew a knife and threatened a counselor at the Fellowship of Lights, an emergency shelter for homeless and runaway kids in Baltimore.
At the shelter, he drew a knife.
Pulled a knife
somebody.
On a shelter worker, a counselor, and threatened him. That's where he's at this point. He's in a fucking homeless shelter in Baltimore. He's got a blade and he's not afraid to pull it out.
Screaming, what have you done to me?
He's surviving. I mean, that's what he's doing. Larry, though, everybody on the outside says it looks like he's the model son, popular, nice star athlete, doing all this shit, but they're not happy with him at all, obviously, here. They would criticize him in front of friends and all that kind of thing. Everybody said, no matter what, one person said, universally, people said Larry would say nothing except, are you finished? May I go to my room? He'd take all the shit, wouldn't say anything, and go, is that it? Okay, I'm going to go to my room now. You done yelling at me? He wouldn't talk back, though. Another time he's hanging out with a friend here, and wow. There was a school, I guess there was supposed to be a big snowstorm that night, and school's not going to happen. It's one of those, we're getting 2 feet of snow.
We know
tonight.
that tomorrow is a snow day.
So Larry called home to asked permission to spend the night at a friend of his with a group of friends who were hanging out at a friend's house. And the parents knew, and they were letting the kids stay over. They planned to watch Superman 2 on VHS that they rented that night.
Is that the one with the ice caves? I think so.
Yes, the Fortress of Solitude. Yeah, that's that one. That's not the Richard Pryor one.
It's a bad one.
It's the middle one. Yeah, it's cheese. It's all cheese. I mean, it's that era of. I watched it 100 times when I was a kid, but it was always bad. It was always crappy.
Like Russian or weird guys.
Because there was 3 is getting mixed up in there too. I'm not sure. So all the kids called. Their parents got permission. Larry calls last, and Kay was not having it. The mother could hear Kay shouting over the phone. And Larry saying, I'm not lying. She asked me to stay. The mother said I could stay. I'm not lying. So Kay demanded to speak with the mother. So his mother, Susan, gets on the phone. And Kay says, what's going on? What are the boys doing tonight? And she said, well, they're going to go out sledding for a while and then come in and watch a movie, which seems fine.
Very normal.
Kay said, Larry's not to be trusted. I don't want him spending the night there.
What is going on?
She said, they'll be supervised. Don't worry. All the other boys have permission. It's totally fine. She said, we were going out sledding. We came in. We rented Superman 2.
Yeah.
And Kay said, Superman 2? Absolutely not. Now, I didn't know that you were watching
that movie.
You're watching sacrilegious stuff, too. And she said it was about because he sacrificed his superhuman powers for the earthly pleasures of Lois Lane's love.
For all that Lois Lane pussy.
Yeah, she said, I would assume that you would think that was as inappropriate for kids as I would. What? It's Superman. Who's it for?
It's a comic book movie, lady.
Jesus. She said that movie shows Lois Lane in bed with Superman.
Oh, come
on.
Said. Look at her, though.
They don't have sex
in
the movie. But she said this, quote, everyone knows they just had sex and the movie doesn't say one word about preventing pregnancy. The last thing this world needs is another abortion or unwanted baby.
Don't worry. It'll go right through her.
Wow. The movie doesn't, but right out of her back.
There's no way she's going to accept
like a 44 slug.
It'll blow her back for real.
Forget about it. The movie doesn't bother showing that when a baby's born, it may be adopted one day, and some fool will have to take care of it.
Okay.
That's what she told. Everything she could. Superman 2 can be taken back to this. It's crazy.
It's Adrian, for Christ's sake. The least fuckable woman on the planet. Don't worry about it.
She says, the mother said, but it's rated PG, and the kids are 16 and 17 years old. They're not 4.
Right. And that PG is today's fucking further than G.
It's fine. No,
cartoon movies.
They used to allow a lot. They used to allow a lot back then,
Did
and
they
still do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And Goonies, all the kids were smoking and cursing.
Yeah, good point.
You know what I mean? It was fine. That was PG. So she just said that this friend's mother said she felt embarrassed for Larry because all the other kids were looking around like, dude, your mom's crazy.
Fuck, dude? She
said there's no nudity anywhere in it. There's not even a mention of sex.
Right.
Like it's fine. And she said, nope. Wow. Meanwhile, Michael's in and out of hospitals. He got a job at a Popeye's Chicken in Annapolis, but overslept one morning and they fired him.
Yeah. The chicken's got to be made.
It's got to be made. Those sandwiches aren't ready. People will riot. That's the problem.
We've learned that.
We've learned it. People will kill each other over a sandwich.
Shit flies off the shelf.
It's fucking delicious. I'll kill you for chicken. It's delicious. So less than 2 weeks later, he was sent to the Crownsville Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. Yeah. He's found to have no mental illness, but he also has no home, so they just keep him there for a while.
God damn.
Larry also got a job at a fast food restaurant before Christmas. He was hired at the Chesapeake Sub Shop to make sandwiches.
All right.
He was only there a few weeks. The assistant manager said he just didn't work out. Food is not his line of work.
What?
Too dumb to make sandwiches.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
When the food service industry is not your line of work, that's...
And he just shrugs it off.
Yeah.
His friends, one of his
kid.
friends said he was never one with big problems. If there was anything on his mind, he would have talked to me about it because we shared problems, even family problems. I think he's kind of quiet in his own way. But with people he knows, he's very caring. He's always there to listen. I've talked to him many times.
Okay.
So if you're nice to him, he'll be nice to you.
Sure.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Escape reality and immerse yourself in a gripping tale of mystery, murder, and romance with June's Journey. Join June as she unravels the truth behind her sister's mysterious death and use your observation skills to find hidden clues and uncover dark secrets. Plus, you get to explore stunning hidden object scenes, from New York parlors to Parisian sidewalks, as each chapter reveals captivating mysteries. How sharp are your observation skills? Put them to the test in June's Journey. Download for free today on iOS and Android.
January 16th, 1984.
Yeah.
Seems normal. Things seem average here. Kay and Larry have a little disagreement about a girl that Larry had taken out on a date.
Okay.
She did not approve of her and did not want Larry to go out with her again. Hussy, apparently. So this argument ended, and then Bob yelled at Larry for messing with his computer and destroying some work he had completed. Deleted something. Or Bob was really pissed off, and this got really bad, yelling, screaming, all sorts of shit like that. When this got over, when he said, "Are you finished? Can I go to my room?" Larry went up to his room and drank some rum that he had hidden up there.
Where'd you get that, Larry?
To take the edge off. They got this kid drinking like a stockbroker after work, where he's like, Jesus, tough day, margin calls. Fuck, one more, put it up, let's go. Slamming drinks down.
Throwing papers in my face saying, sell, give me the bourbon.
Yeah. Holy shit. So then 7 a.m. the next morning, Larry calls 911.
Oh.
And he says, my parents are dead. You might want to send someone over here.
Yeah.
And they said, and what do you think is wrong with them? Do you think I need to send an ambulance? What do you think's wrong with them? And he said, I have no idea. I just saw him lying down there. My mom is outside. Okay. And they said, on the ground outside? And he said, yes. They said, okay, I'll send an ambulance here. They said that the woman in the 911 call said that the caller had extraordinary composure. And he sounded grown up, not childlike. He was just like very businesslike.
Yeah.
His tone was matter of fact. They said it was like he was talking about what he had for breakfast, just normal. She said, do you want to stay on the line with me for a few minutes? And he said, all right.
Sure.
Sure. What's going on here? So, yeah, they arrive. And when they arrive, they find Larry holding Annie and Larry are by the front door. Annie's holding hands with Larry. Said Larry's very composed. He calmly leads them into the house. They said, where are your parents? He said, downstairs.
Yeah.
And, she's right there, down the little girl's right there, and hanging out with him. She's 8 at this point, 9. Yeah. We don't know, 8 or 9.
She could be 35.
9, I think. They said she seemed right. There's a newspaper article that said, quote, her narrow eyes looked frightened.
You can't say that.
Why include that? Did we tell you she's Korean? Why not just say she was frightened? She appeared frightened, obviously, as a small child. Her narrow eyes looked frightened. even through her ching chong eyes, I could see, even inside her soulless Asian eyes, I could see something.
That squinty shit exuded
I could
sadness.
see it. Through her godless communist slanty eyes, I could see it all. It's like so fucking crazy.
I can see
That's just funny.
The reflection of a mushroom cloud in her eye.
I could see it. Like Nagasaki coming to pay its respects. Then the next sentence is even fucking better.
Oh, no.
She wore her dark hair pulled back and had a cute face like an Oriental Barbie doll. We get it. She's fucking Korean. It's just funny. They don't mean anything bad by it. It's just hilarious.
Oh, that's amazing. What year is this?
Fucking 1985. This is taking place. It's fucking hilarious. Her narrow eyes. Look frightened. So, Jimmie's eyes are narrow right now too, because they're closed with tears coming out. Her narrowed, slanty, godless, communist eyes. I could see it. That's awesome.
Jesus, fuck, that's so funny.
So they asked Larry what happened. He said, "I don't know. I just came in and found them downstairs."
Yeah.
So they beats the shit out of me. He told, he told a neighbor that he spotted his mother's body in the yard when he looked out of his second floor bedroom as he was getting ready for school. He saw his mom out in the yard.
In the yard.
And she was Annie was in another second floor bedroom, and he went and got her. So the emergency team goes down. They find Bob first. Actually, Bob is dead. Really? He is lying inside a small basement office, covered in blood, several gash marks on his chest and arms.
Jesus.
Covered in blood. And he's fully clothed, but his legs are like wide open in a weird way.
Okay.
So they walk through the dining room and the kitchen, and they find a stairwell descending into a landing that opened into the large basement recreation room. They found a ping pong table, a bar, upright piano, cauterized sofa, your typical basement. Yeah. Black vinyl armchairs, but no people. Mm-hmm. Then they head toward the sliding glass door, open the door, and that's when they said they saw feet. Yeah. They said they were spread unnaturally far apart, and this is where Bob is in this small room. Yeah. And they said they had to enter the tiny room. It's an office off the stairway landing and turn right. A stocky man lay sprawled on his back between an ironing board and an overturned typing stand. One arm was twisted back underneath his hip. He looked as if someone had dumped a bucket of blood on him.
Wow.
Just blood fucking puddle.
With an arm behind his back.
Like here, like he fell on it.
Yeah.
They said that there were big red blotches all over his shirt. He had a big, wide, stupid, 80s tie. Yeah. They said his tie was loosened and was askew kind of in his armpit. Blood streaked his bald head and face, and he just looked terrible. They said everything was in disarray around the body. There was a lamp that was sideways on the carpet. Books and papers were scattered everywhere. Yeah. He had a brown buckle loafer on his right shoe, but his left foot was missing its shoe. They said it was very strange. The shoe was balanced oddly on its toe, leaning up against a shelf across the room like he got tossed over there. Yeah. They said they checked his pulse, and they noticed that he had holes all over him. They figured it was gunshot wounds.
Really?
So this guy's been shot a bunch of times. They saw a pair of blood-smeared glasses and a gold and pearl tie pin there. Okay. No pulse. And then they hear, I found one out here.
Oh, boy.
Okay. They go to Kay. She's in the backyard. She is nude, except for one sock.
Really?
One sock. And they said it appeared she looked like she was partially scalped.
Oh, wow.
The way her hair or the way the skin was taken off her head, and her neck had several deep lacerations. Now, completely against police protocol, one of the paramedics felt bad because she was not only killed and naked, but she was also, legs were spread very wide as well. So he covered her up with a blanket, which is not crime scene etiquette at all here. We need fucking...
preserve everything.
You need trace evidence, physical stuff, and he just put hairs... fucking
all
fibers, all just here. Let me fuck all that up for you there.
Here
make
is
all of it useless.
a tarp of different shit, and just lay it on her.
Just lay it on her. Yeah, just all, whatever's been in my trunk, my stuff, all my shit on there. Who knows? So they said they described her as stripped and stretched into an unnaturally spread eagle position in the snow behind the family home.
Oh my!
It was out in the snow, which is wild. And the father was in a similar position in the basement. So they're looking. They see basically outside in the snow. It looks like red slush outside the door, blood and snow, and that's when they see her naked. Her body, they said, described it as her skin appeared as sickly gray against the snow. One green knee sock pushed down around her ankle. They said her arms were pulled up to her ears and her legs were pushed far apart like her husband's. And they suspected that she'd been raped as well here at this time, based on what they saw. There was a white eye patch hung over her left eye. They said across her neck were a series of bloody gashes, and on the crown of her head was a gaping wound matted with hair and blood. Big fucking thing. They said they've seen a lot before. These are firemen that respond to this kind of thing, but this shit was wild, they said.
Yeah, this is disturbing.
They said it looks like somebody put a gun in her mouth and pulled the trigger and blew the top of her head off. That's what they were they figure happened. So they surveyed the backyard, a tan moccasin upside down in a dog food bowl, a green tarp pulled over a small oval swimming pool, blue flannel pajama suit, red stained and rumpled in the snow, probably what she was wearing. The house, they said it sat halfway down an incline with a carport and a main living quarters upstairs facing the street and a large recreation room downstairs opening into a fenced rear yard. Okay. They said, and then there was woods behind that where the swamp is, where Larry would hide. So they said they went back in and they're looking at Bob. And at one point, somebody said, someone could still be in the house.
Great point.
We should probably check the rest of the fucking house. There's children here, so that's good. So but they're firemen. They're like, see if the police radio in. Where the hell are the cops? They're not there yet.
Wow.
No cops here yet. These are just the firemen, paramedics.
They sent the paramedics. All right, we'll send the paramedics.
Yeah, cops will be there eventually.
They'll make the call if we need cops.
Yeah, so Larry's sitting up there with Annie, sitting on his lap. And they said, where were you last night if you weren't here? Because he said, I just came in. Yeah. And he said, I was here, Larry said. So they said, I thought you said you came in and found your parents. He said, I woke up and I couldn't find them. Then I went in downstairs. Okay. Like I came in the basement. Yeah. And they said that. And he said, so you mean you were here all night and you didn't hear the shooting? And he said, no.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, they asked him that. They're like, okay. So Larry spoke with this officer. He's telling them, yeah, no, I woke up at 7, 15 minutes after my sister, and she told him that I can't find mom and dad. Yeah. So he said, I went looking for him, and I looked out the window. I saw it through the back window, and that's when I called the cops. So, yeah, they said it seemed like he was in a daze. They let him outside to the carport, figuring a little privacy might help. Yeah. And at one point, he said in a low voice, they're dead, aren't they? And they said he had no emotion behind it, just they're dead, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And he said, yes, they are. And they were like, oh, they were checking him. They thought he was in shock. Yeah. Because of the way he was acting. Like, he must be in shock. They were checking him out medically to make sure he was not in shock. They said, well, why don't you cry some? It may make you feel better. Things like this are hard for anyone to take. And he said he just kind of leaned against this tree there. And he said, it all seems like a dream, like it never happened. Huh. Just real weird. Real fucking weird. Yeah. So they were like waiting for him to find, because people do that and they break down, but it's never happened.
No emotion at all.
But a kid like this, he might be like a Dexter by now, where like he doesn't really have the emotion to give at this. He's had a lot of crying already. He's all cried out.
He may have cried his last tear.
So it's a lot. I guess there was the county dog catcher was trying to catch 2 dogs in the snow too. The smaller one went to Larry. Larry picked him up and carried him to the dog catcher's truck. It's their dog. Yeah. The larger one ran after somebody else, and Larry said, here, Herc, come here. It's his dog, but the dog growled and then kind of
wouldn't come near him.
Calmed down. Then Larry came. He put a leash on him. The police officer had pulled his gun on the dog.
Jesus, they
earlier.
Shoot it.
Now they were asking Larry, what should we do with the dogs? Like, who do we take them to? And he shrugged and said, put them to sleep, I guess.
What?
Which is a crazy thing for a 17-year-old to say.
How do you get Larry?
The cop said he just stared at him and was like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? That's not right. Yeah. So he was like, well, we won't do that. We'll put the dogs aside and give them to somebody. And then he told Larry to go sit in his cruiser. And then one cop went over to a detective and said, you've got a bad one here. There's a nude woman out back and a dead man in the basement. Before you go down, take a look at that boy. He's the one who reported it. I'm no homicide detective, but there's something wrong with that kid. He's too calm.
Yeah, and he's telling us to murk the dogs.
He just said, fuck him. I don't care.
What's going on?
They also noticed a spot on his hand, like a little wound. And they said, what's that spot on your hand? And he said, what? Oh, nothing. Just something I got in the kitchen the other day. And they said, how long have you lived here? Since I was 6. He describes, all of that shit. They said, your sister's adopted too? No, she's not. They were actually Korean. You just couldn't tell. You fucking idiot. Yeah, she's adopted.
It's amazing when you are part everything. Sometimes kids just pop out.
It's so weird.
Randomly.
Sometimes they're Korean. It's real, like super Korean.
Yeah.
Like
they've been rolling the dice trying to get a black boy in his house.
Like an Oriental Barbie doll. You never know. Jesus Christ.
You can't tell from her thin eyes that we ain't kin.
No shit. So they also said, you got another brother too, we heard. Michael, what's up with him? And he said, well, Michael's been placed in the state mental hospital. And they said, what kind of trouble did he get into? And Larry said, I don't know. He broke into homes. He's pretty heavy into drugs. Lately, he's been worse, doing PCP and stuff like that. I heard his friends smuggle it into him in Crownsville. And they said, who are his friends? And he said, I don't know. They said, you don't know the names of the guys smuggling stuff to him? And he said, no. He just told me my friends bring it to me. I don't fucking know. So they said, why don't you tell us everything that happened? And he said, well, and he said, it's exams. He said he went over to his friend's house, played chess for a while, went sledding. Shortly after 5, he came home, studied in his bedroom, ate at 7. They said, any arguments last night? He said, Dad got mad because I messed up one of his computer disks. I'd been fooling around with a friend and we must have messed it up. Wasn't a big deal. He said, Michael's been calling a lot lately, though. He said that Michael hates Mom and Dad, and Mom told me she was afraid Michael would come one day and kill her and Dad. So he's like, I don't know if maybe that's something you should look into. He said his parents had no idea that he talks to his brother on the phone and would not have approved of it. And his brother had made threats against his parents on the phone to me. Wow. He said, quote, Michael is emotionally disturbed. And he said when his sister woke him up last night because she heard screaming, he said his sister woke him up at 11 to 11:30 and said, I hear screaming. And I told her, you're dreaming, go back to sleep. And then she came in and slept in my room. Oh. And he said she does that a lot. If she gets scared, she'll come in and sleep in my room. Okay. So whatever. So they said, you slept in the same room? He said, yes. He said, okay, what happened this morning? He said he woke up and he told me she couldn't find him because they're going over it with him a couple of times. Right. He said, I grabbed Annie and covered her eyes, which didn't take very much at all. According to the story.
I brushed my teeth, put the dental floss over her eyes, and took her outside.
Yeah, the Andrew Dice Clay joke, and there you go. So he said, I saw my mom through the window. Well, I'm surprised they didn't put that in there at the time. It's fucking hilarious. They said, did you go downstairs at all? And he said, no. You didn't go into the backyard to check on your mom? He said, no. Annie and I stayed upstairs and got dressed while we were waiting for you guys. So they arrived to test his hands for gunshot residue, which he has none. Right. They do that. He said last night, other than Annie and said what she heard, did you hear any noises? He said only our dogs barking out back, but they do that a lot. He said, I don't know. He said the dogs had been in the backyard when he went to bed running around. He said, but the small dog didn't bite, but the big dog occasionally bit strangers. He said Michael could get around him, though, because he knows Michael. Right. So they said, has anybody in your family been arguing? He said, no, everyone's been getting along, but there's been some big arguments. Dad gets irritable. And he said, me and Dad don't get along very well. He's always yelling at me. And the cop said, okay, and said, thanks for helping. We need to talk to your sister. So they talked to the sister, and she said she heard her dad making strange noises, crying, help, help, at 11:30 last night.
Mandarin or Cantonese?
That's what I mean. Yeah, you never know. What language is that? Are we talking Korean here? Yeah. He said, are you sure it was 11:30? She said, I looked at my watch. Okay. She said it was 11:34 when I woke up. Oh. So she knows exactly what time it was. Yeah, she's very efficient. And
you really never want to be on Saturday Night Live, do you?
I'm making fun of them.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody takes it any other way, kiss my dick. I don't fucking care. Sorry. Don't tell me you didn't fucking laugh first. Shut up.
It's fucking great.
So
very efficient.
Yeah, surprised they don't add that.
She's
to the
quick
thing.
with numbers.
As an efficient girl, very good with math. Type, ridiculous. So they said, "What a clever girl! What'd you do then?" She said,
"I built
an abacus. That's what I did. I built a Samsung." So they don't catch on fire.
This is fucking amazing.
So she said, I ran outside to the carport. There was a guy in the backyard walking away. He had a shovel over his shoulder, and it was dripping blood. And
she is so young to have seen that.
She's
Holy
9.
Shit.
She's 8 or 9. We don't know. And she would bury her head in Larry's shoulder while she said stuff because it was a lot. And they said, what did this guy look like? And she said he had black hair, curly on top. It came down to his shoulders, and he was humming like he was glad or happy. Like fucking It's a weird thing to hum while you do that. So now they look at Larry. He's got curly black hair, long and bushy, came down to almost his shoulders. So they said, well, what did his face look like? She said she hadn't seen his face, but she noticed he wore blue jeans and a gray sweatshirt with broad neck printed on the back. Okay. Like the high school. Right. So they said, was it like the gray sweatshirt that Michael has? And she said, I don't know. Right. And he said, well, how tall was the guy? That's a good thing because Larry's only like 5'9".
It's a little guy. So
you can tell whether it's one. And she was, Annie looked at Barr, confusion pinching her round face. Every time. Barr, who is 6 feet, rises up and walks over to the ping pong table and says, as tall as I am. And Annie said, taller.
Oh.
And Larry's only 5'9".
Yeah.
So, and then Larry looks at the cop and says, Michael's real tall.
Oh.
Like, and he's got the same hair as me, too. Yeah. He said he's 6'4", 6'6", something like that. And they said, was he as tall as Michael? And Annie said, he looked like my brother.
Oh, my God.
Michael. That's not good. And they said, you mean Michael? And she said, yes. Anyway, and then Larry says, Michael does lots of drugs.
Wow.
So they said, you told us your brother's at the Crownsville Hospital. If he's in there, he can't get out, can he? I mean, he's locked up. And Larry said, he can get out, yeah. He said he recently left the hospital and came by the neighborhood for a visit. He was around, and he said that detectives said that, he's been able to get drugs in and out of the hospital. They don't really keep him in there.
Yeah.
So they trace a trail of bloody footprints. Apparently, Kay had run nearly a mile through the streets, yards, and woods this night to run away from the nude with one sock on, ran through the whole fucking neighborhood screaming bloody murder
and then came back
and ended up circling back to her own yard.
Oh my God.
And I guess at some point she was caught up to and she was dragged back to her house, but she was on her way back there anyway. So they have footprints that they're trying to figure out. They track the footprints, readily identifiable because one foot was bare.
Yep.
And past more than 24 houses in a circular path.
30 houses almost.
Back to some woods behind her house. So that's what she did. And they believe she was attacked in the woods and then walked back or dragged back to her fenced yard and was killed beside the swimming pool.
Wow.
So they think that she was injured before she fled because there's blood along the streets, a blood trail in the snow and on the streets. And they believe she was naked as she fled because her pajamas were found near the house along with one sock left behind.
Right.
So the cops go door to door for clues. H. James Ferguson says, that's a bizarre tragedy to have next door. There's always the thought in your mind that there's somebody out there and they might come back. On the other hand, there's the thought that this might be the safest place in the world. With all this going on, who'd come here and do something like that?
On the other hand, you just slept through something horrific happening right next door.
Ran through your front yard, for sure. He said he heard voices outside when he got home shortly after 10 p.m., and his own dog barked briefly about an hour later, which is when she would have been running by.
Right.
She said that another woman, their other neighbor, said she heard one of the Schwartz's dogs bark at about 11 p.m., and she said, I'm afraid it's going to be a sleepless night for me tonight. And one of the neighbors said she took Annie into her house while the crowd gathered and the crime scene was done after they talked to her. Right. And the neighbor said, I don't think this has touched Annie yet. She seems to think her parents are okay. She doesn't get it, what's going on here, which is possible. Yeah. The Reverend Reverend Kevin Milton from the church said it's a complete mystery and a tragedy. Bob was certainly one of the top leaders in our parish.
Right.
They said another neighbor said it's really the most shocking occurrence. It's a nice middle-class community. Nothing like this happens here. It didn't occur to me to be frightened until everyone asked, are you scared?
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it before that. So all the neighbors said, one neighbor said, all of us who live on these two streets ask ourselves, were we up that night? We ask ourselves, why didn't we look out the window? Okay. Had we looked out the window, none of us are the type who would have walked away from the window. We would have helped. Yeah. You would have had to, you have to stop going over in your mind the what ifs.
Yeah, but and if you got a dog that barks at strange shit, maybe check out why you're. Why have the dog? If isn't usually the dog like a part of a security
force? Yeah. You would imagine that they would at least keep people away. Yeah, you go, hey, what's going on? People just go, shut the fuck up.
They're screaming in its face. Shut your fucking mouth.
Up. Fucking dog.
Why'd you get it?
Someone comes in and stabs the shit out of him. Perfect. And a lot of times these murderers avoid places with dogs.
Right.
I remember Richard Ramirez was like, a dog, I'm out.
I leave.
I don't need to fucking that kind
That's
of trouble.
a man that loves murder.
He smells like a goat and loves murder. And he's like, I'm not fucking with dogs. They bite you. Goat smelling murder lovers.
Yeah, they bite and they alert others.
Yeah.
I want quiet and murder.
Fuck yeah. So January 21st, 1984, Ann and Larry are sent to live with neighbors.
Yeah.
Here. Just a couple of neighbors across the street. They're sent to live with them and because they can't stay in a crime scene, basically. They said these were the Swartz's closest personal friends they go to live with. Now, Michael's the main suspect here. Yeah. They said they asked, did you remember seeing Michael here? They go to the hospital and ask the people in charge there, do you remember seeing Michael here last Monday night? And they said, yeah. One guy said he worked the shift ending at 11 o'clock that night. And I remember I said goodnight to him when I left around 11:15.
Okay.
There's
no way he could have been there.
The exact time this is going on. So they're like, huh. And he said, if that was correct, then the Annie statement about the neighbors and everything happened at about 11:30. It's looking like, doesn't seem like he could have got over there. And then the supervisor volunteered that another nurse had seen Michael on the ward too. That nurse was off duty at the moment and had mentioned to the supervisor after the murders made the news that Michael was there. So the cops asked the supervisor to lock them in Michael's ward and leave them alone. They wanted to see if it was secure. Yeah. They said it was an open, large room with long rows of beds. So it seemed like a Marine Corps barracks, the one guy said, where he was in the Marines. They checked the windows. Each had a locked heavy metal screen. They saw that that the bed was visible from the nurse's station at the end of the hallway, also Michael's bed. Unless he escaped through a window, he would have had to sneak past the attendant who was right outside the room and past several more locked doors down the corridor. They said, no fucking way Michael did this. Right. He was here,
it's
period.
Impossible.
Done. Yeah, you're locked away. Right. You're not doing it. So they said they have no suspects.
None.
Yep. They said as far as the children go, they have just about totally ruled them out, the one cop said. Yeah. It's not the fucking 9-year-old Korean girl.
Right.
Probably. It was ask Chun-Li if she did it, would you? So they said, any arrests coming? And they said, we don't know. Everything will work itself out. The police are double and triple checking everything. Turns out they'd had way more than they said, and they were just sandbagging.
Really?
Yeah. They talked to Annie again, and they talked to her, and she talked about the broad neck sweatshirt and all kinds of things like that. And they asked her a bunch of times, and they said, tell me again. And she said, my brother told me to come back in, so I came back in and called Sandy. That's a small dog. Mm-hmm. She said, did you tell your brother anything then? She said, yeah, I told my brother that Daddy was lying outside in the snow, and he told me that I was dreaming. So now it's that. They said, well, describe the man you saw. She repeated her earlier description, long-sleeve sweatshirt with broad neck printed on the front and back, and it resembled one of the ones that her brother Larry has, like his wrestling shirts. They said when she said the man was carrying a shovel, they said, what did it look like? And she said, like our shovel. And they said, do you know how to draw? Are you an artist? And she said, I guess. Yeah, I mean, more of a math girl, but sure. I draw.
More engineering.
Yeah. She said, they said, could you draw me a picture of the shovel you saw? And so they grabbed the notebook and she sketches it out. They said most of them, they look like shovels and not wood splitting mauls, because they find a wood splitting maul in the woods, in the swampy area with blood and Kay's hair on it.
Oh, no.
So they're asking that. And they're like, well, what do you use it for? And she said, we used it to put our gate up around our pool, and we use it for digging stuff out. They said, you ever use it on wood? And she said, no. They said, you didn't say anything to your brother outside seeing somebody outside, or did you? And she said, I totally forgot to say that. No. So they said, you forgot that. Okay. So what did you do then? You went back to sleep? And she said, I don't remember that. They said, well, anywhere you went. Okay, what'd you do next? She said, I think I went back there to bed. And she said, it was like an hour and a half later, my brother threw up. I woke up and heard him throwing up, Larry. And they said, where were you when he threw up? And she said, on his beanbag chair, because that's where she would go sleep. And she said, okay, was he in bed or in the bathroom when he was throwing up? And she said, he was in his bedroom. And she said that she woke up and he told her she was just dreaming, go back to sleep. You're just dreaming, I'm not puking. He said, did he tell you to do anything? And she said, he just told me to go back to sleep. He said, when did you ask for your pillow? She said, I don't know when. They said, did he ask you for your pillow? And she said, uh-huh. And they said, why? She said, I don't remember. And they said, did you get it for him? No, I had it with me. And all this type of shit, the pillow. By the way, they find out she's been stabbed almost 20 times and bashed over the head repeatedly with a large, heavy maul. Wow. And the father has just shitloads of stab wounds all over him, covered in stab wounds. Right. So that's what's happened. He wasn't beaten, just stabbed to fuck.
The target of the rage is her.
And she's naked and obviously displayed in a very specific way. So they go over and they keep asking her questions. And she said that Larry did not go downstairs. They said, did he stay with you? Uh-huh. We stick together, she said. Yeah. And she said, I want to go home. And they had to end the interview because she didn't want to talk anymore. Right. She's like, I'm tired of talking about this traumatic
Terrible
shit.
Thing, yeah.
So police found a gray sweatshirt, broad neck on the back, in a washing machine at the house.
Oh.
Wet, still in the washing machine. It had been washed but not dried.
Okay.
They didn't like that. They issue a warrant also on the basis of a fingerprint comparison that linked Larry with the bloody handprint found at the murder scene on the sliding glass door. There's a bloody palm print right on there.
Yeah.
They took his fingerprints and took it to the FBI lab and compared his prints with the bloody handprint, and it's a match. So that's not good.
His hand in blood.
In blood on the door. That's what they were saying. Did you go down and talk to them or do anything? Did you go down and try to shake them? Hey, Dad, wake up, and then come in and open the door?
He said no.
He said no. They go, okay, well, then your handprint shouldn't fucking be there. If he said I went down and checked on him and then I came in the house, they go, fuck, well, now what?
Yeah.
But no. So they said, okay. Now at this point, Larry is with a friend of the family's who's a lawyer and is acting as his lawyer as well and his caretaker at this point. Okay. Yeah, this Baradell guy or Baradell. And they talk to him they want to talk to Larry, and this guy's his guardian, so they have to talk to him first.
Yeah.
So they also find a pair of wet, bloody Docksider shoes belonging to Larry in the house as well. Boat shoes, yes, another boat shoe person.
Yeah.
And also the clothing in the washing machine. They also found his footprints in the blood-soaked snow near his mother's body.
Larry. Not
good. They also said the footprints around the body there matched the Docksiders that he wore, bloody fingerprints on the door. It's not good. The same swamp that he goes and hangs out in, that's where they found the maul tossed in there. And if there wasn't enough evidence, also, they're going to arrest him, and when they do, he tells everybody in jail that he killed his family. And he tells it to psychiatrists as well.
Larry.
Now, they said they were sandbagging this and holding it back because they said his demeanor was calm and seemingly unconcerned. The first paramedic actually said that he was scared for his life because he thought Larry was going to kill him when he was looking at the bodies, because he thought he was like luring him in because he thought he did it because he was real cold. That's hindsight, he said that. Sure. Who the fuck knows? They said that he gave conflicting reports to police. At one point, he said he had arrived home that morning, and later he said he'd been home that night before but had been bombed because he drank a bunch of rum.
Yeah.
So they said they announced he wasn't a suspect. They did that to protect Annie because they didn't want him to do anything to Annie because she's a witness. Yeah. So they had to be cool about the whole thing. And his lawyer said, I'm not of the opinion that he is a threat to anyone, and especially not to Annie. If I'm convinced of anything, I'm convinced of that. Okay. So they arrest Larry, like I said, and they said nobody else but Larry was involved. It's a one-person crime. People fucking are like, what the fuck? This is crazy.
Nuts.
Family friends said he's not highly emotional. He's a quiet child. I don't understand this. This is weird. One kid at school who's on the wrestling team with him said, I don't even know if I'll go to school tomorrow. Everyone will come up and say how sorry they are, and I don't know if I can take it. This is a good friend of his from the wrestling team.
Okay. All right.
The junior class president who attends church with Larry and is friends with him says that nobody believes he did it.
Really?
He's like class OJ. He said, no one thinks he did it. It is too horrible for anyone in our school or any of Larry's friends to come to grips with. It's just too big. Yeah. People flew in. Relatives fly in from around the state to see him as well. One of his cousins said he was the model son. He's so mild-mannered. All of us trusted him.
Right.
We can't absorb it, one said. Funeral draws 500 people, by the way. Big old funeral.
Good, yeah.
Kay's family comes to town, and they treat him like shit, they said, which is weird. They were like, that's strange. Weird. The one cop said, did you see how they treated those kids? They didn't even talk to them, him and Annie. Yeah. This was before he was arrested.
Before they knew, yeah.
He said, I couldn't believe they didn't show more attention or concern for those kids. They're relatives, for Christ's sakes. But the lawyer said that they probably think of them as family pets. They probably look at them as Bob and Kay's children, not part of their family.
Yeah.
So these are what the weird shit they're doing. We're not talking to those kids. So they talk again about the marks on Larry on his hand, and they said Bob's not going down without a fight. He was in the Navy. He's a tough guy.
He punches kids, James.
He'll knock a kid out.
Yeah.
And they asked Larry, what happened to your hand? He said, I burned myself frying hamburgers. Mm-hmm. They said, okay, that's fine. They said it looked more like a burn than a scratch, so they actually believed him there. And the cousins asked him questions. They said, do you have any idea who did this? And he said, no, I really don't. They said, who would want to kill them? And Larry said, well, my mom had a run-in with a kid at school because he's a teacher. Mm-hmm. And they said, what, over grades? And he said, yeah, he's kind of a troublemaker. Mom was mad at him about something he'd done. And the police are checking on him. They said, do you think Michael did it? And he said he could have done it.
Who knows?
Said, how likely do you think Michael did it? Do you think there's a 50% chance? And he said, I don't know, probably more. 60% chance? And he said, maybe 80?
87?
83.4% chance? Or the kid at school. I don't know. Larry's lawyer, though, says they're saying he did it because he had wet clothes in the washer. The guy said, quote, good Lord, the kid lived there. He had a right to wash his clothes. At least wait till for the FBI to determine if there's blood on the clothes. Come on, man. Okay. Jesus. And they said, well, what about the fingerprints? And he said, well, all right, let's wait until there's an ID on the prints. Don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure, absolutely sure they're Larry's. Not just here. The FBI's got to see it. He said he never went down to look for his father and got confused where he was when he saw his mother. And the lawyer said, listen, you're talking about murder. Remember, that's traumatic. This boy's brain could have been denser than a London fog. This guy's hilarious. Right. He might not have remembered what day it was, much less what window he looked through, because first he said it was his room, and then he said it was the kitchen. He could have run around the house in a panic, maybe even run outside, getting his hands and shoes bloody when he looked at his mother, then blocked it all out. Let's face it, it's circumstantial. Much of this can be explained away. The Detective Barr's response to that is, quote, give me a break. He said, the boy can't explain everything away. There's too many inconsistencies. He's lying. Yeah. Larry ends up starting to fill his attorney in on some details. Mm-hmm. And he starts telling him, you got to start talking to me. You got to start filling me in. I'm your buddy and your lawyer here. Yeah. So they end up talking to him. And they tell him, look, the police don't believe your story. They think you're lying, and here's why. They go down all the holes in his story. How could he have known his father was dead if he never went downstairs? Right. That's a part of it. How could did he really expect anyone to believe that he slept through all this when everybody else woke up in the neighborhood? Right. That he told Annie she was dreaming. What about that? They said, lawyers often tell juries false exculpatory statements are evidence of guilt. And they said, you've told police some fucking bad stories, so we got to figure this out here. Let's talk about it. And he said, come clean. He said, this is why the police are going to arrest you, Larry. This is the point. You're getting arrested for this. You're not telling us something. You're not telling us anything. And he said, let it go. It's over. We love you. It's not going to change that. You've got to let it go. So Larry then says, yes, I did it.
What?
He screams, yes, I did it, crying and sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh,
the first drop of emotion anyone has seen from this child in 10 years. Since he's 6-year-old, he's never broken like this. He finally snaps. He dropped his whole body, weeping uncontrollably. And the lawyer said it was like a lifetime of sorrow coming out in one.
And all it took was, these are the reasons they don't believe you, Larry.
Yep.
All right, well.
Fuck.
Uncork it.
Larry said he wouldn't stop hitting me. He wouldn't stop hitting me. Uh-huh. And they said they didn't ask him, what do you mean? They didn't ask him to explain anything. Because he told the lawyers earlier he hit Michael, but he doesn't hit me.
Right.
So they said he was dry heaving and like fucking it was like a full-on meltdown. Holy shit. Yeah, dude's having a meltdown. And they said he's not really any condition to answer questions at the moment. We should get him to a psychiatrist, I think, is probably the best.
Probably.
So Larry explained to the psychiatrist that he had trouble expressing emotion since he was small. He made an effort to hold things inside because he feared consequences of letting things out.
Right.
He said, quote, before I came to live with the Swartzes, it seemed every time I gave my opinion or showed any emotion, I got moved to a new home.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm just going to be cool. This is when police find out about how they handled the children, how they were raised, the abuse and things like that. One person said they were strict with their children, but at the same time, they were very kind to them.
Okay.
But they also beat the shit out of Michael a lot.
Punched him. Yeah.
So Larry goes into a 2-man cell, then into a 4-man cell. His roommates like him, his cellmates. They think he's okay, decent guy. They say he's always on TV on the local news, so they're like, "Oh, there it is, your murder's on TV." Yeah. They tell him, and he's like, "Oh yeah," he liked watching himself on TV. They said he thought that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah. They had a black and white set that he could watch there. They said, "Larry, you're a TV star now."
Yeah.
So they said he was very messy, didn't clean up his shit in jail and all that kind of thing. He wouldn't clean up his shit. They go, "Pick up your shit," and he'd go, "Oh, stop bitching. You're always bitching at me." So now he's like, "Oh, you're not my mom. I'm not. I'll fucking kill you like my mom." So he let his personal appearance slide. He would stop shaving and shit and not combing his hair, just kind of getting lazy. Gets tons of letters. Chicks are sending him.
He's hot.
Massive amounts of letters, man. They wrote everybody. People writing the lawyers and the prosecutor writing him. He's innocent. He's too handsome. All this shit. So they want blood from him. They need a blood sample, so they have to go to court to try to get a blood sample from him. They talk about, "Larry, you're up for the death penalty here." And he said, quote, "It never really occurred to me that I could get the death chair. I'm really afraid of the death chair." Yeah, you should be. That's not good. The death chair. Then finally, he says what he did. He says, "It was my wrestling shirt, my sweatshirt, that Annie saw."
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He said that's what it was. They analyzed they detected no blood on one shirt, but other clothing items they detected blood on, including a towel, a pillowcase, and a blue curtain that was found outside. He said that he didn't know why there was a curtain out there. He doesn't remember why he put a curtain out there. He doesn't know why. Yeah, no idea of what that is. He also said they tested everything for vomit and found no trace on the pillowcase or anything else found in the woods. So they were like, "What's up with that? I thought you threw up. Your sister said you threw up." So they said he couldn't explain why his clothing was scattered into 3 distinct piles. They said, "Did you make more than one trip into the woods?" And he said, "I don't think so." He only remembered going outside once in front of his house to get rid of his clothes. He remembered tossing the maul and the knife in the swamp behind the house, and said it was earlier in the evening, immediately after the murders, when he dragged his mother's body outside. Okay. He only remembered going outside 2 times, he said. The whole night was a blur, though. He doesn't remember. He said shortly before the murders, his parents thought he was studying in his room, but he was really drinking rum that he had hidden in a Pepsi bottle in his dresser. And they said, "Why were you drinking?" And he said he'd been studying for exams. He said, "I didn't want my parents to find the rum. I wanted to get rid of it. So I drank it." They said, "That's odd." They said, "How much did you drink?" And he held up his right hand and did 3 fingers. So like that much rum.
All of it?
It's a lot of rum. Plenty of rum for a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Yeah. So he said, "I really can't remember a lot of details." He said he drank the rum in his room, went to the basement laundry room to put his clothes in the washing machine. After he left the laundry room, he passed through the family room where his mother was watching TV. She called out looking for him and said, "How'd your exams go today?" He knew he had failed Spanish and was in danger of failing 2 more courses. So he said, "I think I did pretty well on one, but I think I flunked Spanish." She said, "Oh, Larry, knowing you probably failed them both. You'll probably fail them all."
Oh, my God.
She sounds like Livia Soprano.
Yeah.
"Oh, knowing you probably failed both. You'll probably fail them all." Jesus. So he had 2 more exams the next day, including driver's ed, and he was mad at his parents for telling him that he couldn't get his driver's license until he passed all his courses.
Right.
He said he stood a few feet behind the chair where she sat with her back to him, and then he noticed them all. He said in one confession, he said he was on the floor by the sliding glass door. In another version, the mall was by the hearth. So they said he couldn't tie that down. He told a state psychiatrist that his mother's retort infuriated him. He said she was very sarcastic. I was very mad at her sarcasm. So he said there was a quote, "There was a wood-splitting maul there. She was sitting and watching TV with her blue pajamas on. I got the maul and I hit her in the back of the head and dropped the maul. She was still sitting there. There was a little table in front of the TV with some silverware and a steak knife on it. She was breathing sharply. I could hear that real loud. I did not care anymore about anything in the world. I picked up the steak knife, stabbed her, and got her around the neck."
Oh, my.
Holy shit. When I saw her blood, I felt like good in a sense because I finally did something about them yelling at me. I did not feel good because I don't like blood. I had blood on my hands. Not much. Then he said I started growling like a dog. Dog boy now? What is happening?
This?
You better watch out. Your sister doesn't hear that.
Yeah.
She'll be fucking in the walk tomorrow. Obviously, I'm kidding. Fuck off. What's the worst one I could do? It's that. So Jimmie almost died. No, he said, then I saw my father standing there. He was in his computer room in the basement. He was stunned. I was standing right in front of him with the knife in my right hand. I stabbed him in the left chest around his heart.
Before he even knew what was going on.
His father was like, yeah, just like, what the hell? And he just started stabbing him because he knew he was going to be pissed. He screamed and fell back into his room and shut the door. I pushed the door open. He was still standing up. I stabbed him again twice and shut the door. Then I came to my mind and said, oh God, about 20 times. Then I thought I wanted to get rid of everything, not to be caught. I took my mother's wrist, dragged her out of the room into the snow, took her clothes off because I wanted to get rid of the fingerprints on her clothes. Okay. By the way, the running around was him outside. That's the fingerprint. That's the prints they found. They say he lost one of his shoes at one point. So she said, oh, God, this is so weird. Okay. Dragged her out into the snow, took her clothes off because I wanted to get rid of the fingerprints on her clothes. I bent over and fingered her twice.
What?
Why?
What is that?
Why did you finger your dead foster mother?
What is that?
I don't know.
And that's a fascinating choice of words.
That's his exact quote.
I bent over and fingered her twice. What is that? What is it?
Two fingers?
I don't understand.
That's fucking weird. Just one in and out. I don't know. He said, I was ready to throw up. Thanks, I am
Good.
too. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Well,
Blair.
that's the only normal response you've had so far.
That's the one. He said, I backed up, picked up the maul with one hand and a knife in the other hand. It was a revenge feeling. I took the knife and maul and threw them in the swampy area. Then I thought about Anne, my sister. If she wasn't there was no reason in the world to go back in that house. I passed by my mother's body, went in, took off my shirt and shorts. Annie was there and told me she heard a scream. I told her that she'd been dreaming and she went back to my bed and slept there. I couldn't sleep that night. I wished everything was a dream, but I knew it wasn't. I threw up once on the pillow, then went to the bathroom and took off my shirt and shorts. I wanted to get rid of them. They said, why would he... The one psychiatrist said, why did you put your finger inside your mother after you killed her?
That?
And he just said, he shrugged and said, I was so mad that I felt I had to do something real bad to her.
Wow.
That's what he said. He said that...
that might be the closest we ever get to... the explanation of rape at all.
Yeah, I don't know, or at least this, in this regard. They said that he said his next memory was seeing them all come down in a slow motion on his mother's head. And the lawyer said then he remembered what he thought was extremely loud breathing, which I think was not the case, but almost like a roar, and then seeing the knife on the table and being afraid that his mother's loud breathing would wake up Annie. He didn't want Annie to see this, so he had to stop the noise, which is when he started stabbing. That's what the lawyer says. Yeah. Then he remembered hearing his father yelling for help. It sounded very distant, and they said, that's what happened. So anyway, that's his explanation.
Jesus.
That's what he fucking did, which is insane.
That's too much, Larry.
Yeah, that is wow.
It's just a straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing.
And he said that he said to him it seemed like he was viewing himself or somewhere from like up on the ceiling or in the corner in the wall. It was like a surveillance camera watching the whole scene. And psychiatrists say that that's evidence of a bit of a psychotic reaction.
Yeah.
They said then he turned around and sensed his father was there, and somebody was there. He saw his father standing with what he called a blank look, as if not comprehending anything. Then he heard himself or heard a growl like a wolf or a dog or whatever, and realized it was himself. And his lawyer said, I think he remembered stabbing his mother once or twice and stabbing his father maybe one or two times. He sensed himself taking one giant step and his father falling back into the computer room. He stabbed his mother 17 times.
Right. He's glossing over what he did.
But a lot of people, even...
They lose track.
Yeah. Even like police officers in whatever, they don't know how many shots they fired. Yeah. They just don't know. They will say, I let off 2 rounds and your gun's empty. Like, no, you didn't. You let off 6. Oh, shit. Even if they missed and it's not like a trial, like it's just a report, and they'll think they only fired off 2 and they fired off 6. It's just how it is. Your brain blocks certain shit out. That's it.
Yeah.
So Wow. They said, what were you thinking? And he said, I wasn't thinking.
Right.
He
Clearly.
said, just impulses were coming to me. Thoughts were coming into my mind. Bing. And then another thought would come into my mind. Drag her outside. This is stupid. Then thinking, are there going to be fingerprints on the sleeper? I got to take the sleeper off. Nah, that's stupid. Throwing that down. Now I can see that happening. It wasn't like I was saying, I got to do this. I got to do that. He was just like, it was just his brain was in a million different fucking places. So this is a lot. Now, they asked about the bear trail of bear footprints, and he claimed he had no knowledge of the tracks and couldn't remember what he wore on his feet when he ran outside to hide the evidence, which is the running around the house.
Right.
But he did recall a couple of things. He said, when I came back on the carport, my feet were burning, and the next day I found a gash on the bottom of my foot. I had no idea where it came from. He said, when did you notice the gash? And he said, when I was at the police station, I felt this numbness on my toe, took my sock off, and there was a deep gash on my toe, and I couldn't remember cutting it. So they said when he got the cut, he was probably barefoot, didn't remember getting cut, so he was probably repressing the memory of being outside, is what the psychologist said. So who knows? Because he had to have done it. It's definitely him. So and it matches up, too. They said that his shoe size matches the tracks here. So that's because his mother and his feet were only a half inch apart. Inside, so they confused it. Yeah. Wow. The lawyer said he describes an explosion going off in his mind. Holy shit. So they're going to charge him, obviously.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And they said the attorney says his bizarre confession combined with his memory gaps said he must have had a psychotic reaction. You know, it's in the throes of a psychosis. This is a mental problem, and that's what we should plead, is insanity. So, yeah, he said he liked to keep all of his emotions wrapped up. He said Larry couldn't cry because when he had a temper tantrum, in his own mind, he'd be moved the next day. That's what it's about. So they were like, okay, but he's still got to.
I mean, if you kill two people, you're going to get moved.
You're going to get moved somewhere else, yeah, especially if they're the two people that pay the bills.
Right.
So the prosecutor said that he only recently learned of the alleged abuse in the home. Okay. So he needs a minute to think about this. The shrink here says that his insanity defense sounds good because he suffered. This one person diagnosed him as chronic undifferentiated schizophrenia.
Oh.
And they said it's a mental illness that profoundly distorted the way he perceived, thought, and felt about the world. Often appears in adolescence and characterized by things such as hallucinations and delusions and dissociation. So they said he might have experienced an acute psychotic episode caused by that. They do another test. He's got an 87 IQ, like we said. Yeah. So they said, he's functional and all that kind of thing, but, not the brightest bulb on the shelf, but that's fine. So, they're trying to, by the way, the family, there's such a weird reaction. Some of the people are like, well, I mean, he's part of the family. And some of the people are like, fuck that kid. And all of them are shocked. They're like, he never even gets mad. I've never seen that kid raise his voice. Like, I don't understand it. He's the calmest kid. The fingerprint reports, too, come in, and they revealed that the 3 prints lifted inside the house didn't match those of Larry or his parents. And the location of at least one of the prints seemed significant on the inside of the doorknob of the computer room where his body was found. Yeah. There was a partial palm print appeared to be in blood. So they said they couldn't figure out who that matched up to because it didn't really match anybody. But they said it could have been a paramedic. It could have been somebody. And they put a fucking blanket over it. They weren't going by policy there. Yeah. So he's charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder.
Oh, boy.
They want to take the jurors to the scene to show them everything.
Show them what happened, yeah.
Yeah. They talk about neither lawyers thinks they need a change of venue. That should be fine.
Both of them think this place is okay?
It's fine. This didn't get any publicity or anything. Okay. This kid fingered his dead mother in the street, in the yard. That's fine. They set a trial date, and Larry says, quote, after I read an article in the paper about the trial date, I started shaking all over. If I start thinking about the trial and what could happen, if they say I did things, I could get 2 life sentences. It could go a lot of ways.
Now he's starting to have clarity.
That's weird, right? Strange. They said they're going to take Annie's testimony in writing and not make her testify because she's been through enough.
That's heavy.
He wants to plead insanity, but the prosecutor won't take the plea, so they're going to go to trial. Then, during jury selection, they come to an agreement on a deal.
That's when it happens.
Yeah. The prosecutor said, I'm not saying Larry Swartz wasn't a very disturbed young man. I'm not saying he didn't have cause to be disturbed as a result of conditions that allegedly surrounded his home. He said, but over and beyond anything else, 2 people were very brutally murdered, and I can't let a jury forget that. So there you go. So they come up with a deal, a plea bargain. That says he'll drop the insanity defense, but they're going to put him in a hospital to see if he can be in jail, and if not, they're going to put him in a psychiatric facility.
Until they can get him well not to put him in prison.
Until they can get it well enough to put him in prison, exactly. The Patuxent Institution
Patuxent?
Patuxent, not Pawtucket, like there, not Rhode Island.
Okay.
Patuxent, Patuxent Institution would offer him appropriate treatment that might be able to have him have a normal life someday.
Okay.
So that's what his lawyer says. Sentencing, 2 counts of second-degree murder. His lawyer said that, his attorney said strict parenting. They pushed him to be a model son. He said you had well-meaning and well-intentioned parents who were ill-equipped because of their own personalities to deal with the problems Larry had. Yeah. They said that Larry turned out to be the kind of child his mother least wanted to adopt. She told social workers that as a teacher, she would have difficulty dealing with a dull, normal child because she would have a tendency to think he could have done better. Wow. That's before she adopted anybody.
Yeah.
And the lawyer said that's exactly what she got.
Holy
Kid's
shit.
a dipshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry's cousin said, I think Larry was more in tune to being a drinker and having a sex life, and that was basically in conflict with his parents. Although there were tensions in the family, he was never mistreated. This is a cousin who lives out of state, by the way.
Having a sexual relationship.
He wanted to get laid at 17. Yeah. That's what he wanted. Now, the judge says the crimes were terrible, but he says, from all appearances, you seem to be a normal, average, everyday 17-year-old boy. Yeah. He said, but psychological evaluations by a series of doctors indicate that under the facade of normalness, there's a great deal that was abnormal. He says that, and the state's attorney said he's obviously a very troubled person. He's sick and needs treatment. That's truly, the prosecutor. Yeah. So you, young man, may fuck off. He is sentenced to 2 20-year terms, concurrent though, so same time, 20 years, and then suspended 8 years in each case. So 12 years in prison.
What?
The maximum was 30 years for each count.
Yeah.
He gave him 12 years total.
And some of it he gets suspended in a psych ward.
Yes.
Getting well.
Yes, exactly.
This kid's on the street?
So we'll talk about it.
Oh, my God.
That's coming up in 1 second. So Larry's attorney said, I think Larry had pent up within him all that he could hold. It just happened to burst out that night. The event wasn't so significant as the fact that it was about to happen.
Holy shit.
And then the newspaper said, the handsome 18-year-old Swartz showed no emotion as he took the stand.
Handsome motherfucker.
Fucking amazing. So family members said, I think the defendant lived in a family that aspired for him to be a student and an athlete, and he was more interested in drinking, drugs, and sex.
What is going on?
I don't know. Michael at that time was attending night school and working at a restaurant.
Oh, he's doing great.
Yeah, he ends up graduating from college, but we'll talk about him because then in 1990,
oh no,
a book is written. Sudden Fury is the name of the book that's about this whole thing. That's a lot of these quotes came out of.
Like a Van Damme movie.
It does. Sudden Fury. Seagal's breaking necks. Michael is supposed to appear on Sally Jesse Raphael's show to promote the book, make an appearance to talk about it. But he's unable to make it.
Why?
Because he's arrested for murder.
Who'd he kill?
Michael, at the time, by the way, had recently fathered a child and was paying child support. Then he became unemployed after he broke both his shoulders in a motorcycle accident.
Wow.
He had odd jobs, including a carpenter, cab driver, gas pumper, fast food place.
The worst.
He had agreed to appear on the publicity show, but then he couldn't. The author said he was excited. It was his moment to shine.
Yeah. I mean, he's still at square one.
Yeah.
He hasn't even advanced anywhere in life.
He tried to join the Army, but didn't have a high school diploma, and he had a juvenile record, so they didn't really want to take him. He hooked up with an idiot named Ronald L. Scoats, Scoats, 31 years old. And Swartz here, Michael said that this guy, Scoats, was on parole from a murder sentence he was serving in Florida, and that he had threatened this man, Robert Austin Bell, who was 57, and he had a big thing of change that had $50 of change in it.
Yeah.
And I guess Scoats told this guy on July 9th, 1990, that he'd kill him if he didn't give me all your change.
$50 in change.
$50 in change. He said Scoats had been drinking heavily when they were both carrying knives. They went into Bell's house. Michael said he was shaking the man's hand when, quote, Ronnie just started stabbing him for no reason. I reacted to that and just started stabbing too.
That's your reaction.
I guess I'll start stabbing.
All right.
He was stabbed 48 times, this poor man.
Oh, boy, over $50
Over
in
$50 worth of change. Yep. So that is fucking horrible. The next door neighbor recognized Scotes after Scotes allegedly walked over to him before the incident and said he had brought some items for Bell. Just to let you know, I'm here to see this guy and I'm going and kill him. That's how dumb these fucking people were. The Scotes had lived with Bell until he was tossed out about a month ago. So the neighbor went in and found the guy on the floor. They said Swartz gave a complete confession and implicated everything.
Stop stabbing. I'm going to see the lady with the red glasses.
An 8 to 10 inch blade knife was
Wow.
killed. They both had the same knife, like similar knives. Wow. During his bail hearing, Michael, the judge asked, quote, "Do I know this defendant?" And then said, "I might have set bail for your brother." Yeah, this is the same judge. So in court, Scotes is sentenced to, "You, sir, may fuck off, life without parole." They had sought the death penalty for him.
Lucky.
But they didn't seek it for Michael.
Really?
Michael is sentenced to, "You, sir, may fuck off, 25 years to life." Life in prison with a chance for parole.
Okay, in 25 years.
So, yeah. 1993, a movie comes out, TV movie, A Family Torn Apart, starring Doogie Howser.
What?
And the guy from The Big Bang Theory, the Johnny Galecki guy.
Really?
Darlene's boyfriend and Doogie Howser are in this. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris stars as Larry.
Yeah. That's
obviously.
A very Indian man.
Yeah, they said, this is the crazy part. The director said, and the writer, the people who made the movie said, "We did a dramatization based on the case, which was based on the book. We had to change certain things because they would have just seemed too far-fetched."
Like what?
Like just some of the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
This story's so crazy, they went, we can't make a movie. That's too crazy.
Nobody will believe it.
Nobody will believe it. So that's what ended up happening. That's that. 1993, Larry is paroled.
Holy shit.
He received his high school education and 2 years of college before being paroled. He was released from a work release center, and he served 9 of 12 years. That was that. He had been at the House of Correction in Jessup before that. He was under.
He went to Jessup?
Jessup after the psych hospital. They said he does not live in Anne Arundel County. That's all that we'll say. His lawyer, Baradell, said, "I don't think Larry's a threat. You have to understand this was a kid who was never in trouble. I don't think he'll ever be in trouble for the rest of his life. He's not a chronic offender. He had this one horrible incident." It's a pretty fucking bad one. It's a pretty bad incident.
Finger raped a dead woman.
His mom, for Christ's sake. 2004, Larry has a heart attack and dies.
What?
At 38, dead.
What?
Yep, dead. He had an 8-year-old child, and he was married with an 8-year-old kid and dropped dead at 38.
38?
Done. Larry's dead. As far as I know, Michael's still in jail. I'm not sure.
Holy shit.
There we go.
How's Annie?
She's doing nails. You knew it was coming. So there you go.
Yeah.
That is Maryland, everybody.
What a town.
That's a fucking crazy story.
What a story.
So that's a wild story.
Can't believe it.
Holy shit. If you like that story, certainly tell us about it. Tell the world about it. Get on whatever app you're on and just give us a nice review, 5 stars. Say something fun.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite flavor of jelly or jam or preserves.
Preserves
Pick
are
one.
nice.
Just tell us. It doesn't matter. Do that. Find us on social media. We are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Murder Small on Twitter. So check us out there. Definitely you want to listen to Crime and Sports and you want to listen to your stupid opinions for fucking sure. You want to go to shutupandgivememurder.com. You want to get your tickets for live shows. Tons of shit coming up. Durham, May 31st. That's our next regular live show. But April 20th is the virtual live show. You're thinking I can listen to this when it comes out. It's already April 20-something.
It's still there.
You can still get it. It's available for 2 weeks after the 20th as well. Get your tickets. It's going to be so much fun, just like a regular live show, except you're in your goddamn house.
Best one yet.
Awesome shit. So check that out. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Bonus material coming out our asses over there. $5 a month or above, you get the whole back catalog, hundreds of episodes, new ones every other week. This week, what you're going to get for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about, which you'll get access to, the Ohtani gambling debacle.
Guy.
And the fact that they were just like, I guess it's just the assistant. Let him go. Okay, it's
Don't
the
worry
interpreter. Come on and play.
Nothing to see here.
Look at him hit. Nothing to see here. And we'll talk about other gambling scandals that are not Pete Rose from the past and the new one that just happened in the NBA, too.
Oh,
talk about that. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about Charles Manson.
Was he?
We're going to talk about down a conspiracy rabbit hole here. Was Charles Manson really a CIA asset that was put in this situation to do exactly what he did?
What do you know?
To discredit the hippie movement? We don't know. Let's get into it. A guy spent 20 years ruining his life and writing a book. So we'll talk all about that. That is patreon.com/crime in sports. So get that right now. Keep hanging out with us. And you know what else you'll get? A goddamn shout out. You know when that happens?
Right now.
Right fucking now. Jimmy, hit me with that list.
This week's executive producers are Jordan Bennett, Haley Walls, Thomas Smith. Happy birthday, Thomas.
Happy birthday.
Sherry Blythen. Kyle Norwig got himself a mortgage. Good for you.
Hey, good
and
for you.
Denali York. Thank you all so much for everything you do for us.
Thank you.
You
guys
are
the best.
terrific. Other producers this week are Sophie Content.
Be careful, Jimmy. Careful with that one.
She said it's content, but
this is one of our patrons, Jimmy. Let's keep it.
Thank you.
Keep
Sophie.
it light.
You're terrific. Janice Hill, Rhea Sparks, Tuesday Mize, Jason Munch, Nick Jameson, Mitch Callerby, Kate Clark, Blake Lehman, Laura Rhodes, Terry with no last name, Helena K, Joe Devine, Denise Briceford, Michaela Holtzclaw, Genosaurus XO, Ray Honor, Shannon Hall, Megan O'Neill, Maxine with no last name, Adam Angeloff, I guess maybe, Calvin Maddox, David Hines, her Sophship. Okay, I believe her name is Sophie. All right.
Okay.
D. Connor, Catherine Damon, Domerod. Corey Rizzo has two different ones. Thank you, Corey. Darwin Harder, Uncle Kenny, Danik Chatelane, Michelle McCorkle, Emily with no last name, Michelle Fournier, Jasmine Williams, Lance Morin-Schlager, Kelsey Brown, Clara Bella, Christine Reynolds, Mary and Ann, Anthony Schock, I believe, Annie, oh boy, what is this? Annie Vogel, Paul Jeremiah Hayes, Lucy Davies, Julie Lindsay, Ken Allen, Hayden Thorne, Angela Neath, I think, Rakita Parker, Mail Lady Julie, Jenny, fuck. All right, it's
not
Jenny.
Julie.
Thank you,
Sorry,
Mail Lady.
Julie.
Rick
Sorry,
Jordan, John Shea, Edgar Palma, Lloyd with no last name, Javier with no last name, Julia Foodman, Casey Wiederholt, Rebecca Banks Gilbert, Melina Peters, Mole Children Charities LLC. Mole children. Are there mole children? Do
Are they
need
pulling
help?
children from the ground?
I don't know.
Are their eyes not open all the way?
They may be sick. They have charities. Jonathan Emerson, John Britton, Sarah Noah, Tony the Guitar Geek, Art Vandalay, Bro Mahaj, what? Missy Grenolds. Grenolds? Is that a real last name? Is it? Is it Reynolds and I fucked that up? It's possible.
Maybe. You ever hear Pietragallo before? Could be a name. You don't know.
Andy Tees, Kathy with no last name, Mackenzie with no last name, Stacy Arguello, Deke or Dyke or Dick. I'm not sure. One of the
Let's
three.
Go Deke.
Probably. Marcy Barger, Aaron Adkins, Stephanie Kite, Puccino, Bellini, Ailey with no last name, Allie, it's probably Allie, Woo Beat, Prinny Miller, Markeith. No, it's Markeith. That's a cool name.
Markeith, I've heard.
Yeah. I think there's a murderer named Markeith.
There's an offensive lineman named Markeith, too.
Yeah. There's a Markeith there's a investigation, discovery, interrogation where his fucking eyes hanging out of his face because they tackled him. Yeah.
Yes.
That guy's name's Markeith.
Yes.
Amy Reeves, Bocephus, Ray. I hope it's not that Markeith. Cheyenne with no last name. Irvin, Joseph.
Thanks, bro. Hope your eye's better.
I don't know. Maybe you should have kept that money to make that eye better.
Yeah.
Unless you've got so much money and so many eyes. Irvin Joseph Bergeron. Sonia Montgomery. Kyla Wilson. Paul Minotti. Aaliyah Taylor. Keith with no last name. Catherine Ramirez. Maja Berlin. Lulu Dropo. Abby Van Roy. Chuck Gilbraith. Cameron Greenwade. Greenwald, Joe Jenks, I don't know, Brad Grensinger, Blazin' Bob, Mandy with no last name, John LaBaff, Cody Crompton, Caroline Bennett, Suzanne Kendall, Derek Baker, Heather Archer, Matthew Sharp, Mike Mix, Reggie W, Night Horse, Miranda Levanides, Jeff Martin, Bill Jerem, Lorraine Rain. Yep, that's true.
Rain.
Nick Aram, Rachel with no last name, Wade Carpenter, Genevieve Rittenhouse, Kara Avent, Jillian Smith, Tammy Van Oppen, Amy Wetzel, Anna Maria, Abigail Edgar, Joseph Tamburo, Heather with no last name, Dylan Clary, Kristen Ellen. Shit, is that her first name? All right, that might be 2 first names. I'm not sure. Kevin Carroll, Billy Sale. Could be. Maybe her last name's Ellen even. Laura Barton, Kim Casto, Morgan W. Complexity Crops. All right, Conkle City.
Oh.
Morgan with no last name. Jamie Tafoya, like the lady from ESPN, is it?
There you go. Michelle.
Michelle, I hope that's Michelle's family. Zach Meineke. He's got oil change money.
Muffler money.
Yolanda with no last name. Matthew with no last name. Graciano Johnson. Jake with no last name. Molly Doster. Madison Greco. Sandra Dugan. Titty Laws. Justin Bottles. Lisa B. Julie Rotondo. Darren Kuhn. Amanda Gross. Eileen Warden. Lucas Legault. Josh Mills, Haley Krull, Orange 67 RS. I'll bet you that guy drives a Camaro. Jessica Scarpa, nice Cleo Wright, Letitia Hernandez, Thomas Whitcomb, Eric Westfall, Wade. Nope, that's Mady Davy, Wesley Ford, X23 Hester. I believe that's Devin's family. You guys and all of our patrons, obviously, every last one of you, you're terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
You're unbelievable.
Wonderful bastards. God damn it, we love you. You want to find us on social media? Yes, thank you. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Drop down menu. Find out links to all that shit. Come follow us. Come hang out with us. Keep coming back. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.